Good morning, my dear friend. The first light of dawn quietly brushes against the edges of the sky. I want to welcome you into this sacred moment. There is something deeply holy about the early morning. The world is still hushed. The noise of yesterday has not yet returned, and time itself seems to pause, waiting, inviting you to breathe, to be still, and to listen. This is the hour where heaven feels closest, where the veil between the seen and the unseen seems thinner. And in this tender silence, I want to speak to your heart. Maybe you are waking up with a heaviness that you can quite explain. Maybe the ache in your chest was not soothed by sleep. Perhaps you have been carrying a burden that no one else sees. You smile when others are watching, but inside, you are exhausted. You have prayed before, and yet the breakthrough has not come. You have hoped, only to face more silence. Maybe you are grieving a loss you did not expect, or struggling with a fear that won't let go. The nights are long, the questions loud, and some days, it takes everything in you just to get out of bed. I recently heard the story of someone who knows that exact pain. She had lost someone she loved dearly, and every morning felt like waking up inside a nightmare that never ended. Her home felt empty, her heart even more so. She stopped praying because she did not have the words anymore. The quiet was not peaceful, it was punishing. But one morning, as she sat by her window watching the sunrise, something stirred in her. She did not say much, just a whisper, "I am still here." That morning, she did not ask for anything. She simply let the warmth of the light touch her skin and dared to believe that maybe God had not forgotten her. That was the day something began to shift, not in her circumstances, but in her spirit. And that is where this journey begins. Not in the answers, but in the presence. Not with perfection, but with honesty. This morning, I want to invite you to do something bold and beautiful. I want you to choose connection over isolation. I want you to open your heart, even if it is broken. I want you to bring your questions, your doubts, your hopes, and your fears, not to fix them immediately, but to place them gently in the hands of the one who understands. This time of prayer is not about performance. It is not about saying all the right things. It is about being present. It is about showing up with your whole self and trusting that you are fully seen, deeply loved, and never alone. Prayer is not a ritual reserved for the perfect. It is a lifeline for the weary. It is a conversation for those who do not know where else to turn. It is where sorrow is met with comfort, where weakness is met with strength, and where silence is met with peace. There is power in beginning your day with praise. There is healing in choosing to lift your eyes. Even when your heart is heavy, you do not have to wait until everything feels right to come close. This morning is your invitation, not to escape your reality, but to let faith transform it. Not to pretend the struggle is not real, but to discover that grace is stronger still. So come as you are, with trembling hands, with tired eyes, with a soul in need of rest. Come into this quiet space, where your breath matters and your story is welcome. Come into a conversation that has no judgment, only love. You are not here by accident. The light you see breaking through the darkness is more than sunrise, it is hope. It is a whisper that says, "You are not alone. Let us now begin." Dear Heavenly Father, I wake up this morning with a weight I cannot name. My eyes have opened, but my heart still feels heavy. The room is quiet, but inside me there is a storm. I take a breath, but it catches in my chest, like I am bracing for something that has not even come. There is no loud noise, no clear reason. And yet, this quiet sadness, clings to me like the morning fog. I know I should be thankful for the gift of a new day, and yet I find myself struggling to feel anything at all. I sit here, staring into the early light, wondering how I will find the strength to move, to speak, to hope. There are so many thoughts in my mind, tangled and unkind. They whisper that today will be no different. They tell me I am still behind, still not enough, still stuck in the same place I was yesterday. But I choose, even in this moment, to speak to you, not because I feel brave or strong, because I do not want to carry this alone. You see me, here in this quiet room, before the world rushes in. You see beyond the smile I put on for others, beyond the small talk and the busy work. You see the ache I hide. You see the prayers I never finish. And I need you now. I need you more than words can explain. I do not come with polished sentences. I do not come with a list of requests. I come with a heart that feels tired. I come with a mind that will not quiet down. I come with a soul that longs for peace. Father, there are moments when I wonder if I have drifted too far. If the silence I feel from heaven means you have grown distant. I know in my mind that you are faithful, but sometimes my heart forgets. I forget that you are near even when I cannot feel you. I forget that you are working even when I see no change. I forget that you are holding me even when everything feels like it is falling apart. I want to remember. I want to believe again, like I did when my faith felt lighter, when praise came easier, when mornings held more wonder than weight. Help me not to rush past this moment. Help me not to cover up this pain or push it down. Let me be honest here with you. Let me pour it out, not to complain but to clear space in my heart. I am weary, and I need you to be my rest. I am anxious, and I need you to be my calm. I am overwhelmed, and I need you to be my anchor. Sometimes I think I have to fix everything before I can pray. I think I need to be okay before I can come to you. But this morning I realize maybe the beginning of healing is just this sitting here in my weakness, whispering your name, reaching for your presence with nothing but my raw, unfiltered truth. I am not looking for a miracle this second. I am just looking for you. I want to know that you are still here, that you still care, that you still see me even when the world seems to pass me by. There is something about the early hours that feels sacred, like the world has not yet demanded anything from me. And in this stillness, I want to offer what little I have. I want to bring you my broken praise, my tired thoughts, my silent fears. I want to place them at your feet, not because they are tidy or beautiful, but because they are real, because they are mine, because I trust that you take what is messy and breathe life into it. Dear God, There are people who wake up every day feeling alive. I want to be one of them again. I want to feel joy without forcing it. I want to wake up with lightness in my chest, with laughter ready to rise. But today, I do not feel that. I feel numb. I feel unsure. I feel like I am walking through fog and praying not to lose my way. Yet even here, even now, I open my heart. Even if all I can do is whisper, I whisper to you. Even if all I can give is a sigh, I give it to you. I do not know what this day will bring, but I know that you are the same. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So I start here, with breath in my lungs and a fragile hope in my soul. I do not know what healing looks like yet, but I trust that you do. I do not know what step comes next, but I trust that you will guide me. I do not feel strong, but I believe you are strong enough for both of us. I do not need all the answers today. I just need to be held. I just need to remember that I belong to you, that my value does not rise and fall with my emotions, that my worth is not determined by how productive I am or how confident I feel, that I am loved deeply, completely, even in this state of unknowing. Let the light coming through my window be a reminder that the darkness cannot stay forever. Let this moment remind me that even in weakness, I am not alone. That even when I feel stuck, you are moving in ways I cannot see. That even when I feel distant, you are drawing me close. Wrap me in your peace like a blanket. Cover me with your nearness like a whisper. I do not need to perform today. I just need to be present with you. Let that be enough. Let this be enough. The beginning of something new. A soft, quiet step toward wholeness. A small spark of light in a heavy morning. A simple, sacred yes to your presence. God, as I sit here in the silence of this early hour, I feel you pulling me gently forward. The heaviness of waking still lingers, but there is something stirring underneath it now, a flicker, maybe, of something steady and quiet. I do not feel completely free, but I do feel the invitation to step towards something deeper. My heart is still fragile, but it is open, and in that openness, I choose to speak not only of my pain, but of my praise. I do not wait for the weight to lift. I do not wait for the day to go well. I choose, right here and now, to honor you not because everything feels right, but because you are still good. It is so easy, Father, to let the first moments of my day be filled with thoughts of what could go wrong. My mind is quick to list the unknowns, to replay the regrets, to forecast the failures. But this morning, I want to choose a different way. I want my first breath to carry your name, not my worry. I want my first thought to be thank you, not what if. Before I check my phone, before I look at the clock, before I start planning or dreading or overthinking, I want my soul to look up. I want to lift my eyes above what I lack and remember the one who lacks nothing. You are steady when I feel unstable. You are light when my thoughts are shadowed. You are the calm in my chaos, the order in my confusion. And you deserve to be acknowledged before anything else is allowed to speak into my spirit. So I begin this day, Lord, by saying this: you are worthy, not because of what I have or what I feel, but because of who you are. You are not a reaction to my situation. You are the foundation of my being. And so I offer you this first breath, this first quiet moment, as a sign that I want you to be first in my heart. There is something holy about choosing praise before I know how the day will unfold. It is an act of trust, a small but powerful declaration that says my circumstances will not shape my worship. My feelings will not dictate my focus. I choose to tune my soul to your goodness, like a musician carefully tuning each string before the song begins. No matter what plays out in the hours ahead, I want the melody of my spirit to be in tune with you. I want to start in harmony, even if the world around me is off-key. Lord, I know there will be moments today that challenge my peace. I know there will be distractions, disappointments, and decisions that press on me. But right now, none of that has happened yet. Right now, I am here, awake, and aware of your presence. And in this space, I choose to thank you. Thank you for breath in my lungs. Thank you for another chance to begin again. Thank you for mercies I have not even seen yet. Thank you for holding what I cannot. Thank you for being you, unchanged and unshaken. I am not pretending everything is easy. I am simply declaring that you are greater than whatever comes. I know fear will try to creep in. It always does. It speaks in urgent tones and demands attention. But today, I give my attention to you first. I give my focus to the one who formed me, who knows the end from the beginning, who is never caught off guard. I want fear to know it is no longer the first voice I listen to. I want doubt to realize it does not sit on the throne of my morning. Only you do. Help me, God, to live from this posture, not only in the early hours, but in each interaction, each thought, each quiet space throughout the day. Let my soul keep returning to this place of praise. Let gratitude be the ground I walk on, even when the path is rough. Let thankfulness be the language of my inner world, even when everything around me feels loud and uncertain. I want my mind to be a place where hope rises first, not fear. I want my heart to echo the truth that you are near, not the lie that I am alone. There are things I do not know. Father, there are pieces of today I cannot control, but I can choose how I begin. And I choose you. I choose to look up before I look around. I choose to lift my spirit before I lift my hands to work. I choose to remind myself of what is already true. You are with me. You are for me. You go before me. No matter what I see or how I feel, that truth stands firm. I do not want my worship to be reactionary. I want it to be foundational. I want it to be the first thing that flows from me, not the last thing I remember when I am desperate. I want praise to be the rhythm that guides me, the steady heartbeat beneath the noise of life. Even if today brings unexpected challenges, I will return to this moment. I will return to this choice, to honor you first, to trust you early, to praise you anyway. Let the light coming through my window remind me of what I cannot yet see. Let it whisper that even when the day is uncertain, the sunrise is sure. Your faithfulness is like that constant, quiet, powerful. You show up even when I forget to look. You remain even when I drift. You are present even when I do not feel it. And that is enough to begin. That is enough to lift my eyes and steady my soul. I give this beginning to you, not just the first breath of my body, but the first breath of my spirit. Let it be filled with thanks. Let it be filled with you. As the world begins to stir, as the day begins to move, let my heart remain centered here in praise, in peace, in the quiet confidence that I am held. Let this be my habit. Let this be my way of living. A soul that starts with you will never walk alone. A spirit that praises first will always find the strength to rise. And today, I rise not with answers, but with awareness, not with control, but with surrender, not with certainty, but with trust. And that is where I want to stay. Father, I have begun this day by choosing praise, by lifting my heart before my mind could wander too far, by anchoring myself in the truth that you are worthy before I know what this day will hold. And yet, beneath the words I offer and the hope I try to hold on to, there is something raw that I cannot ignore. There is a trembling underneath the surface, a part of me that still aches, that still struggles to breathe deeply, that still fights to believe that praise is enough when everything feels so fragile. I do not want to hide from you. I do not want to filter my prayers or pretend that my faith erases my pain. I know you are not asking me for perfection. You are asking me for presence. And today I bring you all of me, the joy I am learning to reclaim, and the sorrow I have not yet released. I bring you the parts of my heart that feel bruised. I bring you the questions that sit quietly in the corners of my mind. I bring you the weight I carry but rarely name aloud. And in this stillness, I offer it honestly. God, I have days when I do not know what to say. I have mornings when my thoughts are a blur and my emotions feel too complicated to untangle. I try to be strong. I try to carry it all with grace, but the truth is, sometimes I do not feel strong. Sometimes I feel undone. Sometimes I feel like I am barely holding together the pieces of what once felt whole. I know you already see it. I know you are not surprised by any of this. Still, it is hard to admit, hard to speak what hurts when silence has become my shield. But I will not hide behind silence anymore. I will not let shame convince me that you only want the best parts of me. I will not let fear keep me from being honest with the one who knows me more deeply than I know myself. If I cannot bring my real heart to you, then where else can I go? You are my refuge, not because I am fearless, but because I am afraid. You are my shelter, not because I am whole, but because I am broken. And in this moment, in this sacred quiet, I cry out not with eloquence, but with truth. I am hurting. I am tired. I am in need. I do not cry out to beg. I cry out to be seen, to be held, to be reminded that my tears matter to you, that my silence is not ignored, that my sorrow is not overlooked. I cry because it is the language of my soul when words fall short. I cry because there are things I still do not understand, wounds that still have not closed, dreams that still have not come to life. And in this place of vulnerability, I ask you not to fix it all in an instant, but simply to sit with me in it, to let me know that you are not just the God of my praise, but the God of my pain too. I do not need answers today. I need assurance. I need to know that I am not walking through this season unseen. That even the hidden H in my chest is familiar to you. That even the tears I cry when no one is watching are gathered by your hands. I need to know that I do not have to be loud or put together or impressive to be loved. I need to know that this quiet cry, this whisper of need, this flicker of faith in the middle of my struggle, is enough for you to draw near. You say that you are close to the brokenhearted. You say that you do not turn away from those who are crushed in spirit. So I come to you now, exactly as I am. Not hiding. Not performing. Not pretending. I come because I believe there is healing in honesty. I come because I believe there is power in bringing my real heart to you. I come because I believe that you meet us not at the top of the mountain, but in the valley. Not at the finish line, but in the middle of the struggle. Lord, I know that you are not afraid of my sorrow. You do not turn away from pain. You step into it. You walked roads of suffering yourself. You wept when you stood near grief. You listened to cries that others ignored. You healed not only bodies but hearts. You comforted not only the desperate, but the ashamed. You made room for those who had been silenced, and you invited the weary to rest. I want to rest, not just in body, but in soul. I want to lay down the weight I have carried, even if I do not know how to name it all. I do not know how long this season will last. I do not know what tomorrow will bring. But I know I cannot keep pretending to be fine when I am not. I do not want to carry on with a mask of strength when what I really need is comfort. Let this prayer be my surrender. Let this confession be my step toward healing. Let this moment of breaking become the beginning of being made new. I give you not just the clean parts of my heart, but the scattered ones too. The messy, the aching, the confused. I give you the questions that have no answers yet. I give you the wounds I am tired of explaining. I give you the parts of me that still doubt, still fear, still hesitate. And even in all of that, I lift my eyes. Not because the pain is gone, but because I believe you are still here. Because I believe that you see through the darkness. Because I believe that even this fragile faith is enough for you to work with. My cry in the stillness is not weakness, it is worship. It is the sound of a soul refusing to give up. It is the sound of someone still reaching, still hoping, still believing that even the smallest light matters. So here I am, with eyes still wet, with breath still shaky, with heart still unsure, but I am here, and I am still talking to you, still choosing to believe you care, still trusting that you meet me in the middle, not just at the end, still holding on to the hope that what I offer, even broken, is enough, still opening my hands to say, take this, Lord. This is my heart. This is my cry. This is me. And I know you are listening. Lord, you heard my cry. You sat with me in the silence. And somehow, in the middle of my brokenness, I felt something steady beneath the pain, a kind of quiet that did not come from giving up, but from giving in to your presence. I still do not have the answers. I still feel the H, but something inside me has changed. Maybe not in a loud, dramatic way, but in a deeper place. The place where hope whispers instead of shouts. The place where faith begins not with certainty, but with surrender. And now, in this still space, I want to do what feels unnatural. I want to praise you, not because I have seen the miracle, not because the burden has lifted, not because the storm has passed, but because you are still worthy. Even here, even now, even when the darkness stays longer than I expected. I do not want to wait until things feel better to lift my voice. I do not want to postpone worship until the evidence arrives. I want to praise you in the meantime, in the middle, in the unknown. It is hard, God. My heart wants to link praise with relief, with resolution, with reward. But I am learning that real praise does not need conditions. Real praise is not a transaction. It is a declaration. It is a choice to say that you are still good, even when I am still grieving. It is the decision to sing, even when the melody feels like a whisper. I do not want my worship to be built only on what I see. I want it to rise from who you are. Constant, faithful, present, unshaken. I admit there are parts of me that want to wait. Wait for clarity. Wait for breakthrough. Wait for the pain to make sense. But what if I praise you now, while I still do not understand? What if I lift my eyes while the night is still dark? What if I choose to bless your name while the tears still fall? Would that kind of praise reach deeper into my soul than anything comfort alone could do? Would it change not just my circumstances, but the shape of my heart? I want to believe it would. I want to believe that this kind of praise, raw, unresolved, unfiltered, is the kind that moves mountains. Maybe not the ones outside of me, but the ones inside. Maybe this kind of praise does not part seas or raise the dead in obvious ways. Maybe it does something quieter, but just as powerful. Maybe it breaks the chains of fear. Maybe it silences the voice of despair. Maybe it plants seeds of peace in soil that has known nothing but drought. So I bring you my praise, God, not because I have no struggle, but because I know you are in it with me. Not because I feel victorious, but because you deserve victory, even in my waiting. I will not let the silence steal my song. I will not let the absence of answers keep me from honoring you. I will not let the lingering night convince me that the morning is not coming. I will praise you in the tension, in the uncertainty, in the moments that feel too quiet to trust. Even now, Lord, you are doing things I cannot see. You are working in ways beyond my understanding. You are shaping things in the hidden places. You are weaving healing into the minutes I mistake for emptiness. You are holding me when I think I am alone, and though I cannot trace your hand, I will trust your heart. I will trust that you are the same God in the darkness as you are in the light. I will trust that praise is not wasted in the waiting. It is forming something. It is anchoring something. It is building something unshakable in me. Help me, God, to keep choosing this, to keep coming back to praise even when my emotions try to pull me away, when my thoughts run wild with worry, Bring me back to this place, when the noise of the world grows louder than your whisper. Draw me again to stillness. Teach me to praise you not only with words, but with trust, with breath, with the way I move through my day. Let every step be a quiet testimony that says, I believe you are still near, still working, still worthy. There is a kind of praise that rises not from joy but from resolve, not from ease but from endurance, not from blessing but from belief. I want to live from that place. I want my heart to be steady, not because everything is right, because I know you are righteous. I want my praise to be the thread that pulls me through, when everything else feels like it is unraveling. I want it to be the light I carry into rooms that feel dim, the song I sing when I have no words left to pray. You have not left me, even when I feel distant, even when I cannot see the path ahead, even when the silence stretches longer than I had hoped. You are here, and that is enough. Enough for me to lift my hands, enough for me to open my heart, enough for me to speak praise into the space where pain once echoed alone, enough for me to remember that I am not forgotten, that I am not abandoned, that even here, in this in-between, I am being held by something holy. Let my praise rise like incense, even when my soul feels like ash. Let it climb like a vine reaching toward the sun, even when the sky is hidden behind clouds. Let it become the rhythm that steadies my steps when the ground beneath me shifts. Let it grow in the silence. Let it take root in the H. Let it live in the pause between what I hoped for and what has yet to come. Let it remind me that faith is not always loud, and healing is not always fast, but you are always near. So I praise you, not because the darkness is gone, but because the darkness does not define you. It does not silence you. It does not change who you are, and it does not stop me from lifting my voice. I choose praise not because I have all the answers, but because I know who holds them. Not because I have seen the ending, but because I trust the one who writes the story. Not because I feel strong, but because you are strong in my weakness. Let that be enough for today. Let that be where I begin again. Father, I come to you again, not because all has changed around me, but because something is shifting inside me. The darkness still lingers in places. The questions have not all been answered, but my heart is learning to breathe in a new rhythm. Praise has started to loosen what once felt tightly bound within me. What I once held in silence, I now offer aloud. What once felt like weight pressing down is slowly becoming a doorway into something deeper, something freer. You know the chains I carry, Lord, not the ones others might see, but the ones that live quietly inside me. The silent restraints that tighten with fear, the thoughts that trap me in old patterns, the lies that whisper I will never be more than my wounds. You know the memories that come without warning and stir shame in the places I long to be whole. You know how often I have settled for survival when you created me for freedom. And yet, in the moments when I lift my voice, not waiting for a reason, not demanding a sign, something powerful begins to happen. There is a release, not always in my circumstance, but in my spirit, like doors unlocking that I did not even know were closed, like chains falling off links at a time, with every word of worship that escapes my lips. It is not loud. It is not always dramatic, but it is real. And I feel it. Lord, I feel you breaking things that once broke me. There was a time when I thought worship was only for when I was strong, only for the mountaintops, only for moments that looked like victory. But now I see that it is even more powerful in the valley, even more needed in the middle of the fight, even more sacred when it rises through trembling lips and tired breath. You meet me in that offering. You receive it not for its perfection, but for its honesty. God, you have shown me that worship is not weakness. It is warfare. It is not retreat. It is resistance. It is not just melody. It is movement. Each time I declare your goodness despite what I see, I tear down a lie that has held me captive. Every time I say your name, when fear wants to silence me, I reclaim territory in my mind and my heart. Every moment I choose to bless you instead of breaking under the weight. I take one step further from the prison of despair and closer to the wide space of your freedom. I know now that chains are not always made of metal. Sometimes they are made of thoughts, of shame, of regret, of the voices from my past that told me I am not enough, of the disappointments that made me believe hope was dangerous, of the quiet inner critic that says I must earn what you have already freely given. But I bring those chains into the light of praise, and I hear them begin to crack. I feel the grip begin to loosen. I sense that I am not who I once was, not because I tried harder, but because I chose to worship in the middle of the fire. You never asked me to be perfect, Lord. You never asked me to be fearless. You asked me to trust you, to come, to speak, to lift my hands, even when they are shaking, to open my mouth, even when the words come slow, to give you what I have, even when what I have feels small. And somehow, in that offering, you exchange chains for courage. You give me strength not to hide, but to rise, to walk forward in a freedom that has nothing to do with everything being fixed and everything to do with being filled with you. Let my worship today echo beyond this quiet space. Let it echo through the rooms where I once felt invisible, through the thoughts that once shouted louder than truth, through the memories that once bound me to who I used to be. Let it carry into places I have avoided and awaken the parts of me that stopped believing change was possible. Let the sound of my praise shake foundations that were not built by you. Let it make room for joy where sorrow sat too long. I am learning that freedom does not always come in a single moment. Sometimes it comes breath by breath, prayer by prayer, praise by praise. It comes when I stop waiting for permission to rejoice, when I decide that chains have no final say, when I refuse to let yesterday define how I show up today, when I believe you are strong enough to set me free in the middle of what still looks like captivity. And so I praise you, not just for what you will do, but for what you are doing right now, quietly, steadily, faithfully. I will not listen to the voice that tells me nothing is changing. I will not believe the lie that this is who I will always be. You are transforming me. Even when I do not see the full picture yet, you are shaping my steps with every act of trust. And I will keep worshiping, not to convince you to move, but to remind myself that you already are. Worship is how I break agreement with fear. It is how I say I am no longer a prisoner of my past. It is how I choose courage instead of control, faith instead of fear, you instead of all the false comforts that have only ever left me empty. Thank you for the power of praise. Thank you for the way it pushes back darkness. Thank you for the way it brings light into the places I was afraid to face. Thank you that I do not need to wait for full healing to declare your goodness. I can sing now. I can dance now. I can believe now. Because freedom begins not with open doors, but with open hearts. Not with finished battles, but with surrendered souls. I want to keep living from that space, unafraid to lift my voice, unashamed to be honest, unbound by fear of what others think. Lord, let today be a day where worship becomes my rhythm. Not just a moment in the morning, but the song I return to over and over. Let it rise in me when anxiety tries to return. Let it flow out of me when I feel small or unseen. Let it be louder than the doubt that says, I am not growing. Let it silence the shame that says, I do not belong. Let it be my answer to every lie, every fear, every old wound that tries to convince me otherwise. You are the one who breaks every chain. You are the one who replaces captivity with joy. You are the one who reminds me that my voice matters, even if it trembles, that my praise is powerful, even when whispered, that my freedom is real, even if it comes one step at a time. I belong to you, and in you there is no bondage that can hold me, no history that can define me, no wound too deep for healing. I choose to walk in that truth. I choose to sing in that truth. I choose to live as if I am already free because in you, I am God. I can feel it now, the shift within me, the awakening of something firm beneath the fragile. You have broken chains not with force, but with presence, not in noise, but in the quiet strength of worship. And as I stand here, freer than I was, I realize that this freedom is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of something braver. There is still a path ahead, a battle waiting beyond the stillness of this morning. But before I face what is coming, before I step out into what today might bring, I want to praise you not for the outcome, but for the promise. Father, you know what lies before me, the challenges I will not see coming, the conversations that will test my patience, the decisions that will stretch my faith, the moments where I will feel small again. And yet, here in this early breath, I choose to raise a different banner. I choose to declare your victory before I see it. I choose to lift my voice in praise, not after the walls fall, but while they still stand. I choose to let worship go before me, not as reaction, but as preparation. There is something powerful about praising before I know the result. It reminds me that you are the God who goes before me, that you fight battles I cannot see, that you prepare the way in silence while I am still learning to walk in trust. I want to be the kind of person who does not wait to see the proof before I believe. I want to be someone who believes enough to sing while the sword is still sheathed, while the storm still threatens, while the road ahead is unclear. Let my praise not be delayed by doubt. Let it not be held back by logic or fear. Let it rise from a place deeper than understanding. Let it come from the roots of who I am becoming in you. I want to live from that place anchored in the certainty of your presence, rather than the clarity of my path. I want to walk forward with a voice lifted in thanks, not because the struggle is gone, but because you are already in it. There have been times, Lord, when I waited too long to worship. Times when I let the weight of the unknown silence me. Times when I gave more attention to the enemy's threats than to your truth. I do not want to like that anymore. I do not want to be reactive with my faith. I want to be intentional, proactive, bold. I want to begin each step with praise, not as punctuation at the end of a miracle, but as the opening line of every new chapter. This morning, I remember those who praised you in advance. Those who shouted before the victory was seen. Those who sang with chains still around their ankles. Those who danced before the answer came. And I choose to stand with them in spirit, believing that you are just as faithful now as you were then, the same God who split the seas, who brought down walls, who walked through fire with your people. You are with me now. Let me not be afraid of what I cannot yet see. Let me not be intimidated by how tall the giants look. Let me not be discouraged by the quietness before the breakthrough. Let praise become my weapon. Let worship be the sound that marches ahead of me, declaring that no matter what the enemy throws my way, I will not bow to fear. I will not surrender to anxiety. I will not submit to despair. I serve the one who sees the end from the beginning, the one who commands the winds and calms the waves. And so I will sing not softly, not hesitantly, but with confidence that you are already at work. I will lift my hands as if the victory has already been won. Will speak truth over my heart when lies try to speak louder. I will plant my feet in your word when the ground around me trembles. I will let joy be my defiance. I will let thanksgiving be my stance. I will let praise be my declaration that I am not alone, and I am not defeated. There is something holy about praise that goes ahead. It does not wait for comfort. It does not ask for evidence. It rises from faith that says, even if today brings more battles than blessings, you are still enough. It is not reckless, it is reverent. It is not naive, it is rooted. Because to worship before I see is to walk in the rhythm of heaven, where the outcome has already been secured, and the victory is not in question. You are not asking me to be fearless, Lord. You are asking me to trust you in the fear. You are not expecting me to be perfect. You are inviting me to believe anyway, to wake up each day and choose again. Choose to see your goodness in advance. Choose to speak life over what looks barren. Choose to sing as if the miracle is already in motion. Because maybe it is. Maybe what I praise for now is already on its way. Maybe worship is what keeps me aligned with what you are doing, even when my eyes cannot see it yet. Teach me to praise like that. Teach me to pray not only for the outcome, but in the middle of the unknown. Let my spirit grow strong from the daily habit of putting praise first. Let my heart be courageous, not because everything is clear, but because you are constant. I want that kind of boldness, the kind that sings through shaking, the kind that lifts hands even in the middle of waiting rooms and battlefields, the kind that says you are enough, and I am not backing down. Today, I may not know what I will face, but I know how I will face it. I will go forward with a song in my heart and your name on my lips. I will not wait for peace to find me. I will carry it with me. I will not wait for joy to surprise me. I will walk in it from the start. Because when I praise you first, I step into alignment with truth. I take hold of the perspective that sets captives free. I remember who I am, not the sum of my fears or failures, but a child of the living God, wrapped in strength and crowned with purpose. So I begin this day, this moment, this breath, with praise that pushes ahead of me, praise that dares to believe before seeing, praise that declares you are already making a way. Let that praise be the sound the enemy hears first. Let it be the atmosphere I carry into every room. Let it go ahead of every worry, every decision, every challenge I will face. And as I move forward, let your presence surround me like a song no fear can silence. Father, after lifting my voice ahead of the unknown and stepping forward with praise as my banner, I now sense you inviting me to go even deeper, not just into a moment of worship, but into a life shaped by it. What good is a single song if my soul forgets to carry it into the rest of the day? What power is there in one offering if I let the fire die once the morning fades? You are drawing me not only into moments of praise, but into a rhythm of surrender that builds something lasting between us. There are places in my heart, Lord, that once held the fire of worship every day. Places that felt alive with your presence, where praise was not something I had to remember, it just flowed naturally. Like breath, but time and distraction and weariness have crept in. I did not mean to let the altar grow cold. I did not mean to stop showing up. But slowly, without realizing it, I let other things take priority. I let the noise of life drown out the sound of devotion. I let urgency replace intimacy. I let routine harden what once was holy. And now I see it. I see what I have neglected. I feel what I have missed. And I want to come back, not with guilt, but with longing, not with shame, but with sincerity. I want to return to the altar, not the one made of stone or wood, but the one within me, the altar of praise, the inner place where my heart meets yours again and again. No matter what the day holds, I want to rebuild what has been left in ruins, not with grand gestures, but with small, faithful moments of turning toward you. Let today be one of those moments. Let this breath, this whisper, this simple decision to make space for you be another stone laid in love. Let my posture shift from only seeking you, in need to honoring you in every part of life. Let my spirit awaken not just in prayer, but in every choice I make. I want to live in such a way that worship is not something I do, but who I am becoming. I want my thoughts to echo praise, my speech to reflect your kindness, my actions to mirror devotion. God, teach me how to keep the flame alive. Teach me how to return to the altar day after day with joy, not duty, with softness, not striving. Let praise become my first instinct, not my last resort. Let it become the place I return to when I feel dry, the place I bring my gratitude, my tears, my wonder, and even my silence. I want to honor you in the hidden places, Not only when the room is quiet or the sunrise is beautiful, but when the hours feel long and nothing around me seems sacred. I confess that I have sometimes waited for the right mood, the perfect setting, the emotional surge to bring me back to worship. But I see now that true praise does not rely on those things. It is forged in choice, in discipline, in consistency, in building a life that returns to you no matter what else is falling apart or coming together. Help me build that life, Lord, not on the sand of emotion, but on the rock of your unchanging presence. I want to tend this altar like something precious, to treat worship not as a task, but as treasure, to care for it, to protect it, to prioritize it in the ways I structure my time and attention. There is a kind of peace that only comes from devotion, that is steady. I can feel it even now, a grounding, a settling, a clarity. When I make praise part of the architecture of my day, everything else begins to fall into place. Not perfectly, not without pain, but with a sense of meaning, a sense that no matter what I face, I have a center I can return to, a holy place inside me where you meet me again and again. Let this altar be built not with lofty words, but with honest prayers. Let it be formed by moments of silence where I listen, not just speak. Let it be strengthened by small acts of obedience, by unseen acts of kindness, by choices to forgive when I could have held bitterness. Let it be rebuilt every time I turn my heart back to you, even if just for a second in the middle of a busy day. I want to worship you in the mundane, in the routine, in the overlooked corners of my life. Lord, rebuild in me what time has worn down. Restore the joy of praise that is not performative, but personal. Make me a worshiper who does not wait for Sundays or songs, but who finds you in the ordinary. Let my life become an altar where your name is lifted high, not just with words, but with how I treat people, how I respond to disappointment, how I endure the waiting, how I celebrate the good without forgetting the giver. I do not want to treat praise like a momentary high. I want it to be the foundation under my feet. I want it to be the pattern my soul follows, the home I return to, the fire that never goes out. I want to rebuild with care, with patience, with reverence. I know it will not always feel easy. I know there will be days when I feel distracted or distant. But even then, I will come. I will show up to the altar anyway. I will lay down my pride, my performance, my pretense, and I will offer what I have because you are worthy and because I want to be close. I want the rhythm of my life to sing of you. I want the way I carry myself to reveal a heart rooted in praise. I want others to feel your presence just by being near the warmth of what you are rebuilding in me. Let it begin again, God. Let this moment mark a return. Let this space between you and me become sacred ground again. Let this quiet whisper be the first flame of something lasting. If I must build this altar brick by brick, moment by moment, I will. If it means choosing you again and again when everything else calls for my attention, I will. If it means turning down the volume of the world to hear your voice, I will. I want this life of praise not because I have to, but because I long to, because there is nothing more beautiful than being close to you. No fire more meaningful than the one that burns with love and wonder and reverence in your presence. So here I am, no longer just offering a moment, but inviting you to shape my every moment. No longer simply visiting the altar, but living at it, breathing at it. Building again, with hands open and heart willing. Let this be a return not just to praise, but to the kind of life that cannot exist without it. A life that remembers, a life that abides, a life that burns with steady worship, every hour of every day. Father, now that I have returned to the altar, this inner place of praise, you are teaching me to tend. I find myself faced with something that stretches my faith in a quieter way. It is not a storm, not a crisis, not even sorrow. It is the waiting, the in-between, the stretch of days where no answer has come, where the prayers remain open-ended, where the silence is not empty, but still somehow heavy. And yet, in this space, I feel you asking for a different kind of worship. Not loud, not urgent, not desperate, but steady, still, like a song that hums beneath the surface. There is something about the waiting, Lord, that exposes what I truly believe. It peels away my distractions. It reveals my tendencies to rush, to fix, to fill the quiet with noise or solutions. I used to think that silence meant you were far away. But I am beginning to understand that silence is sometimes where you speak most clearly, not in words, but in presence, not in answers, but in peace. You are not avoiding me. You are inviting me to lean in, to listen, to stay. So here I am, staying, not because it is easy, but because I am learning that praise in the waiting is one of the most sacred offerings I can bring. It is not praise wrapped in victory or certainty. It is praise that chooses to believe even when there is nothing to hold but hope. It is praise that grows roots instead of wings, that digs deep when everything in me wants to run ahead. It is not flashy, it is not fast, but it is real. God, help me not to treat the waiting like a punishment. Help me see it as a pause you have allowed, an interval where something invisible is taking shape. I do not want to waste these days pacing the floor of my mind. I want to worship in the middle of the unknown. I want to sing in the gaps between questions and answers. I want to make peace with the quiet, not because I understand it, but because you are in it. Teach me to sing softly here, to let my soul settle into the silence without fear. Waiting is a classroom, is not it? One where trust is not theoretical, but practiced. One where I learn to live by faith and not by sight. One where I either lean on your character or crumble under the weight of control. I have tried the crumbling, Lord. I have tried holding everything in my own hands. It always leaves me wary. But when I worship in the waiting, something shifts. I am no longer measuring progress by outcomes. I am measuring it by intimacy, by how close I stay to you, by how much I let your voice be enough when answers are slow to come. Let my praise be slow burning in this season. Let it not depend on emotion or motivation, but on a heart that has chosen to stay with you. Let it be the way I steady myself when my thoughts want to wander. Let it be the way I silence the lies that say nothing is happening. Something is always happening when I wait with you. You are not idle. You are not indifferent. You are shaping things within me that only time can bring forth. Like a seed hidden beneath the soil, waiting for warmth, for rain, for just the right moment to rise. I remain here planted in hope. I cannot see what is coming, but I trust that you are nurturing it, that you have not forgotten the prayers I prayed when I was desperate, that you have not dismissed the cries that came from places too deep for words. You remember all of it, and you are working, even now, in ways that I cannot measure. Lord, I ask for the grace to worship you while the answers sleep, to honor you when the way forward is still dim, to delight in you not because of what you give, but simply because of who you are. Let waiting become the place where my love for you deepens. Let it be the place where praise matures from a response to a lifestyle. Let it be where my voice stops performing and starts confessing that you are enough. Even here, I know others may not understand this kind of praise. It is quiet. It is not surrounded by miracles or testimonies yet, but that makes it no less sacred. If anything, it is more, because it costs more, because it comes from a place of deep trust, because it is worship with no strings attached. You do not owe me answers to deserve my devotion. You are worthy whether you speak now or later. Whether you move in obvious ways or in whispers I can only sense. That is the kind of faith I want to grow in this season. So I will keep returning to you, day after day, moment by moment. I will sit with you in the slowness. I will keep lighting the flame of worship, even when nothing seems to change. I will let the silence teach me how to listen again, how to value stillness, how to anchor myself in the truth that has already been spoken instead of constantly seeking new signs. You are not on trial here. My patience is, my endurance is, my surrender is, and with each breath, I want to surrender more fully. I do not need a loud voice to praise you. I need a loyal one. I need a heart that keeps showing up, not to be moved emotionally, but to be moved spiritually deeper into trust, deeper into surrender, deeper into you. I want to become familiar with your presence in the still places. So when the noise returns, I will not be shaken. Let praise be my rhythm in the quiet days. Let it hold me steady while the earth beneath me waits to shift. Let the silence become holy, not hollow. Let the waiting feel like preparation, not punishment. Let my soul lean into you rather than away. This space between the promise and the fulfillment is not wasted. It is where roots grow. It is where character is shaped. It is where praise becomes not just a song, but a way of being. I want that kind of worship, not reactive, but rooted, not circumstantial, but constant. You have never rushed me. You have never forced me to understand. You have simply invited me to trust. And today, I say yes to that invitation. I will not let the absence of answers keep me from the presence of peace. I will not trade this moment for the illusion of control. I will remain here, singing softly in the stillness, trusting that you are present, that you are good, and that you are working all things in ways I cannot yet see. Let this waiting be worship. Let this stillness be sacred. Let this silence be full of your nearness. And let my heart remain open, faithful, and steady until the day the answer comes, and even after that. May I never forget the beauty of learning to praise you here, Lord, as I continue to sit in this stillness and let praise settle into the spaces that once felt hurried and loud. I am learning to listen differently. The silence is no longer a void. It is becoming a shelter, a room without clutter, where I can finally hear what I could not before. There is a hush now inside my heart, and in that hush, I realize you have been speaking all along, not with thunder or spectacle, but like a breeze brushing against the soul, gentle, unmistakable, patient. And now, with my distractions quieted and my defenses lowered, I want to truly hear you again. Father, there was a time when I expected your voice to crash in like a wave, to interrupt everything and make the direction clear. But I see now that you do not compete with chaos. You do not demand attention like the world does. Instead, you wait. You whisper, and only when I slow down, when I surrender the need for noise and results and signs, do I notice the sound of your presence. It is not always words. Sometimes it is just peace. Sometimes it is conviction that settles deep and unmoving. Sometimes it is a memory you bring back or a line in a song that seems to echo longer than it should. You speak in ways that require me to lean in. And so I lean in now, not with anxiety, not with pressure, but with wonder. I do not come demanding a revelation. I come to recognize your nearness again, to tune my inner ear to the frequency of your spirit, the way a musician listens for harmony, the way a child recognizes a familiar voice in a crowd. I want that kind of knowing in my relationship with you, not dependent on signs or feelings, but rooted in intimacy. God, forgive me for the ways I have filled up every quiet space with distraction. I have scrolled and worried and talked and planned when what I needed most was to be still and listen. I have rushed through prayer without leaving space for you to respond. I have treated you like a task to complete, not a voice to follow. But I want to change that. I want to rebuild not only my praise, but my posture. I want to become someone who knows the difference between my own thoughts and your guidance. Someone who does not just talk about trusting you, but actually waits long enough to hear you. Teach me what it means to discern, not with fear of missing you, but with confidence that you are a shepherd who knows how to lead his sheep. Remind me that you are not hiding, you are not distant. You are always speaking through creation, through scripture, through gentle nudges in the soul. Let me become more familiar with the tone of your spirit than with the voice of my doubts. Let your whisper become louder to me than the noise of this world. There is something holy about this kind of listening. It requires stillness, but not idleness. It requires attention, but not strain. It is active, but peaceful, like watching the leaves of a tree move just slightly and knowing there is wind, even if you cannot see it. That is how your spirit feels sometimes. Soft but strong, silent but certain. And the more I make room, the more I notice, the more I slow down, the more I hear, the more I worship without agenda, the more clearly you speak. Let every part of my day become an open space where your voice is welcome, not just in the quiet morning hours, but in traffic, in the grocery line, in the middle of conflict or confusion. Let me practice listening, not as a special spiritual moment, but as the normal rhythm of our relationship. Let my default not be reaction, but response to you. Let my first instinct be to pause, to wait, to listen, to remember that you are not only with me, but speaking life into me moment by moment. Lord, I do not need you to shout. I need you to lead, and you lead best when I am willing to follow without needing all the answers up front. I am learning that trust does not always come from clarity. Sometimes trust is what I choose in the absence of it. And when I choose to trust, I hear you more clearly, because fear fades in the presence of trust, and confusion begins to quiet down when I remember who holds the map, even when I do not hold the plan. Let your word become more than pages to me. Let it be breath. Let it be water. Let it be the filter through which I hear every other voice. When I am uncertain, bring to mind what you have already said. When I feel lost, remind me of what is unchanging. Let Scripture not only comfort me, but challenge me. Let it correct my thinking, direct my choices, and shape the way I interpret the world. Let it be the compass I reach for before I reach for the opinions of others. God, I want to be someone who walks in step with you, not ahead of you in anxious haste, not behind you in hesitant fear, but alongside you in surrendered awareness. Let me hear you in the wind and in the whisper, in the laughter of someone I love, and in the silence of an unanswered question. Let me find you not only in the breakthroughs, but in the pauses. Let my ears be tuned to wonder again, so that nothing you say goes unnoticed. And if today you choose to speak not in explanations, but in presence, then let that be enough. If you do not say anything new, let me remember what you have already said, that I am loved, that I am not alone, that you are for me, not against me, that your plans for me are good, that nothing can separate me from your love, that you delight in being near. Let those truths echo louder than any fear or doubt. Soften my heart, Lord. Make it a quiet place, a listening place. Let it become familiar with the sound of your Spirit, even when no one else hears it. Let your voice be the one I follow when the path splits. Let it be the one I trust when my own understanding reaches its limit. Let it be the one that comforts me when the world feels loud and unkind. Let it be the voice that shapes the story of my life, word by word, moment by moment. I am listening now, not just with my ears, but with my whole life, with my posture, with my choices, with the way I slow down and open space for you to enter. Let that be my worship today, not only in songs I sing, but in the way I stay available to hear the one created me to walk with him. Speak, Lord, in whatever way you choose. I am listening. Father, now that I am learning to recognize your voice in the whisper and the stillness, I realize how much I need that clarity when the shadows start pressing in. You do not always remove the darkness immediately, but you give me something greater in the midst of it, a sound, a song, a strength that does not come from me. You give me worship not just as a gesture of affection, but as a weapon, one that does not destroy, but defends, one that does not cause harm, but breaks the hold of what was never meant to stay. There are battles I fight that no one else can see. They are not on the outside. They rage within me. Fear creeps in without warning. Doubt whispers lies that try to disguise themselves as truth. And shame comes knocking at the door, wearing the voice of my past. Sometimes it feels like these shadows are too familiar, like I will never be completely free. But you remind me again and again that worship is not just something I do when I feel victorious. It is what makes me victorious. It is how I push back against everything that tells me to hide, to give in, to fall silent. God, let my praise be louder than the fear. Let it rise like a flag planted firmly in the middle of every storm. When darkness tries to surround me, let the sound of worship break through like a light that refuses to be dimmed. Let every word I sing, every breath I give, every truth I declare be a reminder to the enemy and to my own soul that I am not defenseless, that I am not abandoned, that I am not a prisoner to anything I have been through. There is power when I praise you, not after the battle ends, but right in the thick of it, when I choose to lift my voice while my knees are still shaking, when I speak your name out loud, even when I do not feel brave. It is in those moments that I feel something shift, not always around me, but always within me. Praise pulls me out of panic. It snaps the chains of paralysis. It reminds me that I am part of something greater, that I serve a king who never loses and who never leaves. I have spent too long letting my thoughts spiral when you have given me a melody to anchor me. Have spent too many mornings waking up overwhelmed, forgetting that worship invites you into the battle before it ever begins. So today, I do not wait for fear to grow quiet on its own. I confront it with truth. I replace it with sound. I meet it with declarations that you are good, that you are near, that you are stronger than any shadow that dares to follow me into this day. Lord, help me to stop underestimating what happens when I worship. Help me to remember that every time I choose praise over panic, I take back ground. Every time I speak your name over my situation, I invite your presence to move in ways I cannot predict, but can fully trust. Let me not fall for the lie that worship is only emotion. It is an act of war. It is how I choose whose voice gets the final say. It is how I decide what gets to live in my mind and what must go. I have heard too many voices telling me I am not enough, that I will always struggle, that I will never break free from certain patterns. But you, God, speak differently. You say I am loved. You say I am chosen. You say I am more than a conqueror through you. And so I lift those truths like a sword. I hold them high like a shield. I will not cower. I will not be silent. I will not let fear narrate my story when praise has the power to write a new chapter. Even when the battle is unseen, I know it is real. The discouragement that creeps in, the comparison that steals joy, the hopelessness that tries to settle into my chest like a permanent guest, all of these are things I face. but none of them are greater than you. And every time I lift my hands, every time I open my mouth, every time I speak your promises out loud, I am resisting the darkness. I am reminding my soul that it has a refuge. I am standing in a victory that has already been won. Worship is not denial. It is defiance. It is not pretending the struggle is not there. It is declaring that the struggle does not get the final word. I worship not to escape reality, but to invite you into it, to let you take center stage in the middle of whatever war I am facing. Because where you are, darkness has to flee. Where you are, peace begins to rise. Where you are, chains lose their strength and lies lose their power. Let my praise be steady even when my surroundings are not. Let it be bold even when I feel unsure. Let it be consistent when everything else tries to shake my focus. Let it be the thing that steadies my heart, that lifts my spirit, that reminds me who I am and whose I am. You are not a God who watches from a distance. You are here, in the middle of it all, surrounding me with the sound of truth, inviting me to sing even when my voice is weak. Sometimes, Lord, my worship feels quiet. Sometimes it feels broken, but I offer it anyway, because I know you are not measuring volume or perfection. You are looking for honesty, for trust, for surrender. And that is what I bring, even if all I can do is whisper your name in the dark. I believe it carries weight. I believe it pushes back shadows. I believe it reminds both heaven and hell that I belong to the light. So I sing. I speak. I declare, not because everything is easy, but because you are my strength. Not because the fight is over, but because I know who fights for me, and as I lift my voice, I feel courage begin to rise. I feel joy inching back in. I feel peace taking its place again in my chest. And I remember that I am not fighting alone. I never was. This is how I will fight today, not with fear, not with striving, not with bitterness, but with worship, with truth, with the name of the one who conquered death and silenced every enemy that thought it could last. Let praise go before me like an army I cannot see, but can always trust. Let it surround me like a fortress that no darkness can penetrate. Let it become my home, my weapon, my witness, that no matter what rises against me, you rise higher still. Father, as I stand in the echo of worship that has pushed back the darkness, I feel something I had almost forgotten begin to stir something softer. Quieter, but no less powerful. It is healing, not the loud, immediate kind, but the kind that gently seeps in through the cracks. The kind that finds its way through tears and pauses and deep breaths. And as I sit in this moment with you, I realize that gratitude is its vessel, that healing often enters not through the spectacular, but through the simple thank you whispered in the middle of what still hurts. There is so much I have carried that I did not know how to let go of, pain I named but never released, disappointments I tucked away instead of surrendering, wounds that looked healed on the surface but still stung when touched. I brought these into worship, thinking I had to push through them, sing around them. But you are showing me something different. That sometimes Healing does not wait until after the praise. It happens through it. Through every word of thanks that pushes back the numbness. Through every moment I dare to see goodness where sorrow once stood. God, it feels strange to say thank you in places where I once wept. It feels odd to offer gratitude when parts of me still feel bruised. But that is what makes it holy. It is not the thank you that comes after everything is perfect. It is the thank you that chooses to see what is still even when not everything has changed. It is the decision to honor what you have done instead of fixating on what has yet to come. And in that choice, something begins to heal inside me. You are not asking me to ignore the wounds. You are asking me to bring them into the light, to let Thanksgiving be the way I loosen their hold on me. Gratitude does not pretend the pain never existed. It just refuses to let pain define the entire story. It allows me to acknowledge the brokenness while still holding on to the beauty. It lets me say, I still hurt, but I am also still breathing. I still do not understand, but I still believe you are good. Lord, thank you for the moments I overlooked, for the nights I made it through without realizing how close I came to breaking, for the strength that showed up in silence, for the people who stayed, for the small mercies that arrived like quiet messengers, an unexpected smile, a deep exhale, a moment of clarity. These things may seem small, but they are holy. They are the stitches you use to mend what was torn. And when I stop to notice them, when I name them, when I thank you for them, I feel my heart beginning to knit itself back together. Thank you for the breath I did not have to earn, for the sunrise I did not ask for the grace that met me again this morning, even though I doubted it would. Thank you for the way you see me, not through the lens of my wounds, but through the lens of redemption. Thank you for the gentle ways you remind me that I am not forgotten, not overlooked, not too broken to be made new. Gratitude helps me see what shame tried to hide, that I am still worth loving, that I am still capable of joy, that I am still in the process of becoming whole. Help me remember that healing is not always about removing pain. It is about redeeming it, turning what once hurt into something sacred, transforming the places where I once fell into places where I now stand stronger. Gratitude is part of that transformation. It turns memory into testimony. It turns scars into reminders of how far I have come. It lets me look at my story without turning away. And with every thank you, I reclaim a part of myself that pain tried to silence. There are still places in me that ache, still pieces I do not fully understand. But even here, I say thank you for what I have learned, for what I have survived, for how you held me even when I did not feel it. Gratitude does not erase what happened, it lifts my eyes so I can see what else is true, that I was never alone, that I am not the same person I was in the middle of the storm, that something inside me has grown deeper roots, and they are starting to bloom. Let thankfulness become my rhythm. Let it be the song I sing in the spaces between what was and what will be. Let it guide me out of the caves I built around my pain and into the light that reminds me there is still beauty to be found when I am tempted to focus only on what I have lost. Help me remember what I have gained: resilience, compassion, the ability to sit with others in their pain, the courage to hope again. Gratitude is not always easy. It asks me to open my hands when I want to hold tightly to what I have known. It asks me to release control, to let joy come, even when it feels uninvited. But I am learning that joy often sneaks in through gratitude as open door. That healing does not shout, it comes in with a quiet presence, clothed in thanks and wrapped in the warmth of remembering what is still good. Let my heart become fluent in thankfulness. Let it speak gratitude in every language, through laughter, through stillness, through prayer, through how I treat others. Let every thank you be a small victory, a sign that I am healing, a sign that I am moving forward, not in denial, but in hope. Let it be the balm I apply to wounds that still need time. Let it be the posture I choose even on days when the heaviness returns. Father, you are patient with me. You have never rushed my recovery. You have never demanded I be okay before you call me close. But you have gently led me here, into this space where gratitude and healing hold hands. Where worship does not have to be loud to be strong. Where thankfulness is not the end of the journey, but a companion along the way. You are healing me, not just through miracles, but through presence. Through every moment I choose to say thank you, when it would be easier to stay silent. And I do choose it, Lord, even today, even here, not because everything is fixed, but because I am learning that healing lives in gratitude. That peace begins with perspective. That joy can rise even in the middle of mending. I lift my heart in quiet thanks, not to forget what has hurt, but to remember that you are the God who is always making all things new, one breath at a time, one whisper of thanks at a time, one healed heartbeat at a time. Lord, as gratitude settles deeper into my spirit, something within me begins to shift. I start to notice how the way I see everything is slowly being transformed. Not just the big, bold parts of life, but the quiet corners too. I am beginning to recognize that healing does not only change how I feel, it changes how I see. And I long, more than anything, to see through your eyes, to look at the world not through the lens of fear, or pain, or past disappointment, but through the lens of grace and mercy and eternal hope. Father, it is so easy for my perspective to become clouded by what surrounds me. The noise, the news, the negativity, the endless demands, they all compete to shape how I interpret life. I begin to expect the worst. I brace myself for the next hurt, the next letdown, the next crack in the floor beneath me. But you are not calling me to live in constant anticipation of harm. You are inviting me to see through the clarity of faith, to notice what cannot be seen with natural eyes, to believe that what is happening inside me matters, even more than what is happening around me. You see differently than I do. While I focus on what is missing, you see what is growing. While I count what I have lost, you are preparing what I have yet to gain. When I look in the mirror and see someone still trying to get it together, you see someone being shaped, refined, redeemed. And even though I struggle to believe that vision, deep down, I want to stop defining myself by my fears and start defining myself by your promises. I want to walk into every day with eyes wide open, not to the chaos, but to the quiet work of love happening all around me. God, teach me to see people the way you see them, not as problems to solve or threats to avoid, but as souls deeply loved, just like me. Remind me that even the person who frustrates me most is someone you have never stopped pursuing. Help me choose compassion over criticism, curiosity over assumption, empathy over judgment. Let my first instinct be grace, not suspicion. Let my first thought be love, not defense. I want my eyes to be windows of your heart lenses that filter through your mercy and your truth. There is beauty here that I have missed, Lord. Tiny moments of wonder that I have been too busy or too bitter to notice. The way sunlight dances across the kitchen floor. The sound of laughter from someone I love. The chance to breathe deeply in the stillness of morning. These are not small things, they are sacred glimpses of your goodness. And I do not want to miss them anymore. I do not want to rush through life without really seeing it. I do not want to let pain blind me to joy. Shift my focus, Lord. Take my gaze off of the things I cannot control and turn it toward what I can choose: how I show up, how I speak, how I trust. Help me see that miracles do not always come dressed in grandness. Sometimes they look like survival. Sometimes they sound like silence. Sometimes they feel like a softening of something I thought was too hard to change. Give me new eyes to see the divine in the ordinary. Let me recognize you not only in the sanctuary, but in the hallway, the commute, the conversation, the pause between moments. You know how often I have been stuck, staring at the closed door, grieving what did not happen. But even now, you are teaching me to look in a different direction, to turn my eyes toward the light creeping under the cracks, to believe that what is ahead is not just more of the same, but something beautifully different, something shaped by redemption, something lined with grace. Father, help me not to base my expectations on the past. Let me walk into this day not waiting for it to go wrong, but wondering how you will surprise me. Show me how to replace cynicism with hope, not naive hope, but the kind that is anchored in truth, the kind that does not deny reality, but invites redemption into it. Let me live like someone who truly believes you are at work, even in what I can't yet see. When discouragement clouds my vision, be my clarity. When anxiety tightens my focus to only what might go wrong, lift my eyes. When shame tries to define what I am allowed to see in myself, replace it with the truth of who I am in you. Let my heart be so rooted in your love that my perspective can't help but shift toward goodness. Let me be a person who looks for light, who chooses to notice joy, who pauses to give thanks in the middle of the messy and the mundane. You are not done with me, Lord, and you are not done with this world that changes how I see everything. You are not asking me to pretend pain does not exist. You are showing me that hope exists alongside it, that beauty and brokenness can share the same space. That faith is not about always having clear sight, it is about choosing to look up even when the path is uncertain. So today, I choose to see with hope, to search for your fingerprints in every hour, to believe that the more I fix my eyes on you, the clearer everything else becomes. Let this shift in perspective be a sacred exchange. My fear for your peace, my doubt for your presence, my narrow lens for your expansive love. Let my life reflect what I now see more clearly, that you are near, that you are good, and that you are still opening my eyes. Lord, as I learn to see differently through the lens of your grace, I begin to feel something even deeper stirring within me. A quiet kind of healing, not loud or sudden, but slow and sacred, like the first breath after a long night. You are touching the places inside me that I had buried beneath distractions, beneath my defenses, beneath the stories I told myself to survive. And now, Father, you are asking me not to turn away. You are inviting me to remain present with the wounded parts, not to hide from them or pretend they no longer hurt, but to offer them to you with trembling hands and open heart. God, I used to think healing meant erasing the pain, but now I see it means being able to live with it, to hold the memory without being consumed by it, to find meaning in the places I once tried to forget. You are not ashamed of my scars. You see them as spaces where light gets in, where your power is made perfect in my weakness. You are not waiting for me to get it all together before you move. You are here, even now, whispering that restoration begins not when I feel strong, but when I let myself be seen. Father, there are places inside me that still ache, parts of my heart that carry silent grief, quiet fears, deep regrets. I bring them to you now, not with eloquence but with honesty. I bring the disappointment that still lingers when dreams did not unfold the way I hoped. I bring the anger I have not fully named, the betrayal I have not fully forgiven, the version of myself I still struggle to accept. I bring all of it, not because I know how to fix it, but because I trust that you do. And I believe you meet me in the offering. Help me release the shame I have carried like a second skin, the shame that tells me I am too broken, too late, too much, or not enough. Help me unravel the lies I have believed for so long they feel like truth. Replace them with the words you speak over me, words that call me beloved, chosen, whole. Let those words be louder than my inner critic, stronger than my fears, more constant than my self-doubt. Teach me to speak to myself the way you speak to me, with tenderness, compassion, and hope. God, sometimes I numb myself not because I do not care, but because I care too much. I get overwhelmed by the weight of it, all the stories I carry, the people I try to help, the expectations I feel I must meet. It becomes easier to stay busy than to feel, to keep going than to pause. But I know true healing cannot happen in haste. It requires presence. It asks me to sit with the ache, to breathe through the discomfort, to trust that something sacred is happening even when nothing seems to be changing. Remind me that slowing down is not weakness, it is where restoration begins. I want to stop judging my heart for how long it takes to heal. I want to make space for the process, for the mess, for the days that feel like steps backward. I want to trust that you are not measuring my progress by milestones I cannot reach, but by the courage it takes to stay in the journey. Let me be patient with myself. Father, let me rest in the truth that you are not in a hurry with me, that healing is not a destination to arrive at, but a daily choice to keep showing up, to keep opening my heart, to keep choosing light. Lord, heal the way I see pain, not just mine, but others too. Let me not look away when someone else suffering makes me uncomfortable. Let me be a witness, a safe place, a listening ear. Let me carry hope in my hands like a gift, not a demand. Let me love people not by fixing them, but by honoring their process, by walking alongside them without trying to take control. Show me how to be a reflection of the compassion you have shown me, how to hold space for others with grace and humility. Father, I know healing is not just about what is removed, but what is restored. Restore my joy where it has grown dim. Restore my sense of wonder, my capacity for awe. Restore my ability to trust, to dream, to feel deeply without fear. Restore the parts of me I shut down because life taught me it was safer to be numb. I want to live fully, even if that means feeling more. I want to be brave enough to risk connection, to risk hope, to risk believing that beauty is still possible after the breaking. And when I feel like I am starting all over again, remind me that beginnings often come disguised as endings. That growth often looks like falling apart before it looks like building up. That transformation rarely feels like glory in the moment. It feels like surrender. It feels like letting go of what I thought healing should look like and embracing what it actually is, a holy unfolding, guided by your hand. So here I am, Lord, unfolding, slowly, tenderly, honestly. Let my healing begin and continue not because I force it, but because I trust you to carry it. Not because I earn it, but because you are good. Not because the past is erased, but because the future is being rewritten. I believe you are restoring me from the inside out, and even in the moments when I cannot see the full picture, I will choose to stay in the process, knowing that you are faithful to complete what you have begun in me. Lord, as you continue to restore me from the inside out, I sense that healing must go deeper than emotions. It must touch the very rhythms of how I live, how I respond, how I protect, how I escape. These patterns I have repeated for years, the ones I barely notice anymore. They shape my life in ways I never fully understood. And now, God, you are calling me to see them, not with shame, but with clarity. You are helping me realize that some habits I once used to survive are no longer serving me in this season of becoming. They are walls where there should be doors, cycles where there should be freedom. Father, I bring to you the parts of me that are still stuck in the old ways, the quick temper, the avoidance, the craving for control, the fear of silence. I bring you the tendency to shrink myself to be accepted, to strive endlessly so I can feel worthy, to guard my heart so tightly that nothing, including love, can get through. These patterns are familiar, even comforting in their predictability, but they are not holy, and I want to live holy, not just happy. I want to live free, not just functional. I want to live open, not just safe. God, it is hard to admit how often I default to what I know, even when what I know hurts me. I have learned to brace myself for disappointment before it happens, to expect rejection before it is spoken, to pull away before anyone has a chance to walk away first. These things have become instinct, but they are not truth. You are truth. You are teaching me that I no longer have to live by the stories fear has written. I can live by the story you are writing now, one of courage, of renewal, of choosing differently even when it is hard. I know that breaking patterns is not a matter of willpower, but of surrender. It is not about fighting harder, but trusting deeper. It is about allowing your spirit to interrupt my habits, to reroute my reactions, to retrain my mind with gentleness instead of guilt. I want to always get it right. I may fall back into old ways, but you are not measuring me by perfection. You are guiding me through process. You are patient when I forget, steady when I falter, and persistent in your love when I would give up on myself. Lord, some of these patterns are not just mine, they are generational. I have inherited ways of thinking, reacting, and surviving from wounds I did not cause but have carried. And now, in your presence, I say it ends here, not by my strength, but by your spirit. I declare that I will not pass down what I refuse to confront, that my children, my loved ones, the world I touch will feel something different. Not bitterness disguised as strength, not silence mistaken for peace, but a new way, a new breath, a new legacy written in love and rooted in truth. Help me, God, to notice the moments where change begins not in the grand gestures, but in the pause before I speak, the breath before I react, the choice to listen instead of defend. Help me to celebrate small victories, like staying present in discomfort, like offering kindness when I want to pull away, like asking for help when I am tempted to isolate. These are seeds of transformation, and I trust you to grow them in time. Father, I need courage to face the discomfort of change. It is easier to stay in the known, even if it keeps me small. But you are not calling me to smallness. You are calling me to expansion, to new ways of relating, new ways of seeing myself and others, new ways of walking in grace. Change will cost me comfort, but comfort has cost me too much already. I am ready to risk discomfort for the sake of growth. I am ready to release what no longer serves the person you are calling me to be. Teach me how to be gentle with myself as I change. I do not want to replace old shame with new pressure. I want to move with grace, not with guilt. I want to be honest about my struggle, not ashamed of it. I want to know that healing is not about becoming someone else. It is about becoming more fully who I was always created to be. Let me embrace the holy tension between progress and grace, between discipline and compassion, between accountability and tenderness. Lord, you are not asking me to change alone. You are here in every step, in every tear, in every hard but holy choice. You walk with me into the patterns I fear I will never break, and whisper that nothing is too strong for you. You remind me that I am not powerless. I have authority in you. I can speak to the mountains of my habits, and they will move. I can walk out of prisons I have lived in for years, and into the light of a new morning, not because I am strong, but because you are. So today, I choose to live differently, not perfectly, but intentionally. I choose to question the things I once accepted without thought. I choose to pause before reacting. I choose to ask, is this who I am, or just who I have always been? I choose to open my hands and release the patterns that no longer align with the person I am becoming. And I choose to trust that with every surrender, with every uncomfortable yes, you are writing something new through me, a story of healing, of freedom, of a life unchained. God, as you help me shed the weight of old patterns, I begin to notice something quiet rising in the aftermath, an unfamiliar stillness that feels like peace. It comes not from resolution, not from the absence of problems, but from your presence in the very middle of them. After the noise of struggle and the clamor of change, this gentle hush feels like a miracle in itself. And I realize that peace is not a destination I am running toward. It is a gift you are offering me right here, in the now, in the breath I am breathing, in the moment unfolding beneath my feet. Father, for so long I have lived in the what was or the anxiety of what might be. My mind has been a swing between regret and anticipation, rarely allowing me to rest in the present. I have feared being still, afraid that quiet would uncover pain, that rest would mean weakness, that if I paused too long, life would fall apart. But now, you are showing me that the present is not something to fear. It is where you meet me. It is where healing happens. It is where peace takes root like a whisper becoming a song. I have spent so much time praying for clarity about the future that I have missed the grace hidden in this moment. But here and now, I open my hands to receive it. I let go of the compulsion to predict or control. I loosen my grip on tomorrow and the weight of yesterday. And I say yes to this moment, even in its imperfection, because you are here. And if you are here, then peace is possible not because everything makes sense, but because I am not alone. Lord, teach me to see the present as sacred, not something to rush through or survive, but something to savor, to embrace, to bless. Let my heart learn to breathe slowly again, to notice sunlight through the curtains, warmth in my hands, quiet in my spirit. Let me recognize the divine, even in the mundane you in the cup of water, in the steady breath, in the stillness between tasks. I want to stop waiting for a perfect moment to feel at peace. I want to live like each moment, messy or magical, is a cathedral where you dwell. There are still questions I do not have answers to. Still wounds that have not fully healed. Still prayers that echo with silence. But even so, I choose to believe that I can have peace without having closure. That I can trust you with the in-between. That I can rest before the story resolves. Because peace is not what happens when all my problems are fixed. Peace is what happens when I let you hold my heart even while it aches. Peace is presence, not perfection. God, I confess that sometimes I reject peace without meaning to. I choose worry because it feels responsible. I choose business because it feels productive. I choose distraction because it feels easier than sitting with what is real. But now, I want to choose differently. I want to welcome peace like a long-lost friend. I want to guard it like treasure, protect it from the noise, and anchor myself in it like a tree whose roots deep into your promises. Teach me to be someone who carries peace, not just someone who finds it now and then, in moments when chaos swirls around me. Let me return to the truth that you are not shaken when my plans fall apart or the unexpected breaks in. Remind me that your peace surpasses understanding, that even when I do not see the way forward, I can walk in calm, that even when storms rise, I can sleep in the boat with you beside me. Not because the storm is gone, but because the Savior is here. That is the miracle of peace I long for, not the absence of struggle, but the presence of steadfastness. Father, help me be mindful. Let me be where my feet are. Let my soul settle into the soil of this moment and drink deeply of its quiet. Let me notice the beauty I usually overlook, the kindness in a stranger's eyes, the rhythm of my breath, the grace of being alive. Let gratitude be the doorway to peace. Let thanksgiving reroute my attention from lack to fullness. Let me see that even here, even now, there is more to be grateful for than I first believed. I surrender my need to have all the answers. I lay down my urgency to fix, to know, to predict. I open my palms in acceptance, not of defeat, but of presence. Because here, now, in this exact space and time, I can feel you whispering, "Be still and know." And in that knowing, there is calm. In that stillness, there is strength. In that presence, there is peace. Not earned, not manufactured, but given. By grace, like a soft robe over my shoulders, reminding me that I am safe. Lord, I know the world will still move fast around me. The noise will return. The demands will rise. But something is changing in me. I am learning that peace is not found in escaping reality, but in inviting you into it, in creating little sanctuaries in my day, pauses to breathe, to listen, to remember, moments when I close my eyes and feel your nearness, when I slow down not to fall behind, but to catch up with my soul, to remind myself that I am not just living, I am being held. So even as I step into responsibilities, I carry this peace with me, like oil on my hands, like light in my chest. I let it shape how I speak, how I move, how I treat others and myself. I let it remind me that I am not driven, I am led, that I am not behind, I am on holy ground, that the pace of grace is slower than the world's expectations, but infinitely more sustainable. Let that truth guide my feet today. Let it anchor me when the world spins. Let it call me back when I drift. Let me return to peace not as a place to visit, but as the home I live from, God. As the echoes of yesterday still ripple gently through my soul, I wake with a quiet yearning to lean deeper into you. The journey of this prayer, flowing tenderly from the chambers of night into the early glow of morning, leads me again to this sacred place of surrender. You have taught my spirit to watch and listen, to feel the rhythm of grace that carries each breath into divine purpose. As I step into this new chapter of stillness before you, I sense your nearness like dew resting on the petals of dawn. My heart whispers to you even before my voice can. You know the longings that stretch beyond words, and the questions I have not dared to name. In the softness of this beginning hour, I bring them to you not for answers alone, but for presence. Let me feel the assurance that comes not through certainty, but through communion. Teach me to seek you, not only to understand, but to trust, not only to be held, but to follow. Every morning is a chance to begin again. I no longer look for perfection in myself, but for your hand in the imperfections. You meet me in my weakness without condemnation, calling me to rise not in strength of my own, but in the quiet might of your mercy. You do not rush me. You wait. You stay. And in your patience, I remember what it means to be loved without conditions. Let this day become a sacred canvas upon which you paint reminders of heaven, whether I find myself walking among joy or sorrow. Let me remain awake to the wonder that you are with me. Even the most ordinary moments carry the extraordinary weight of your nearness. I do not want to miss it. I do not want to pass through this day numb or distracted. Open my eyes to beauty. Open my ears to the whisper of truth. Open my heart to compassion so it beats not only for my own peace, but for the healing of those around me. I ask for the grace to be still without guilt, to rest without fear of falling behind. The world may spin with demands and expectations, but you are not rushing me. You are more interested in my becoming than my performance. When I walk slowly with you, I find that I arrive right on time. You turn detours into direction and delays into preparation. There is no wasted time in your hands. Help me to unlearn urgency when it is born from fear, and instead embrace rhythm born of faith. Let your voice be louder than my doubts today. When my thoughts turn inward and anxious, gently redirect them upward. Speak into the places where I feel unqualified or overwhelmed. Remind me that you delight in using the unlikely and the overlooked. I am not disqualified by my limitations often. They are the very place you choose to begin. Father, teach me to walk in kindness, not just as a virtue, but as a language that speaks of you without using words. In every conversation, let my tone be soft but sure, my intentions gentle but grounded. Even when misunderstood, give me the courage to remain loving. Help me remember that my dignity is not diminished by humility. It is deepened by it. Let compassion be my default response. When I encounter others in pain, may I not retreat in discomfort or judgment, but draw nearer in grace. Whether it is a stranger, a friend, or someone who has wounded me, let love be my instinct. Not because it is easy, but because you first loved me when I had nothing to offer in return. I invite you into the hidden parts of me, the thoughts keep buried, the habits I justify, the wounds I ignore. Shine light where I have grown used to shadows. I do not want to live divided, with parts of me untouched by your healing. Make me whole, not by erasing what is broken, but by redeeming it. Let scars become sacred space, proof that grace met me there. Father, guide my hands today to build what lasts beyond the moment. Let the work I do be more than task, it can be worship. Whether in words I write, meals I prepare, or the way I greet another soul, may each become a vessel for something holy. Use my small efforts to echo eternity. When I am tempted to measure my worth by what I produce, pull me back to your truth. I am not what I accomplish. I am yours. My value is not rooted in achievement, but in the miracle that you call me beloved. Let that be enough. Let that be everything. In the face of uncertainty, help me resist the urge to control what is not mine to hold. You have never asked me to carry the weight of outcomes. You ask for trust. Teach me to release not in resignation, but in reverence. As I loosen my grip, I find your hand already underneath mine. You are the steady ground when everything else shifts. Let joy sneak in through unexpected doors. In laughter that bubbles up from the belly, in the quiet appreciation of a bird at song, in the way sunlight plays on water, remind me that delight is not a distraction from the spiritual life, but a doorway into it. Joy is a declaration that darkness has not won. So let me laugh, let me notice, let me dance if the moment calls for it. And when sorrow visits, let me welcome it without fear. Remind me that you do not flee from tears. You draw closer. You sit beside us, not always with answers, but always with empathy. When my words fail, you do not grow silent. You interpret the H. You translate the sigh. You receive even the stammered prayer as sacred. As the day unfolds, may my heart remain attentive. Let no moment pass unnoticed. Let no soul I encounter go unseen. Even in the mundane, remind me that holiness is always near. You are not far off. You are in the dishes, the deadlines, the traffic, the laughter, the fatigue. You are in it all. And because you are there, it can all become worship. So I begin again not with a list of demands or even desires, but with an open heart. Let this day be shaped not by my expectations, but by your intentions. Let me walk slowly, love deeply, give freely, and listen often. Let me be less concerned with being impressive and more consumed with being faithful. Let my life not be a performance, but a prayer. And if I forget all of this midway through the day, remind me gently, whisper truth into my distractions. Draw me back into rhythm. You are not frustrated by my wandering. You are faithful to find me every time. So here I am again, present and willing, ready to follow where you lead even if the way looks different than I imagined. Let your presence be my reward. Let your joy be my strength. Let your peace be the ground I walk on. And as I live out the hours ahead, may others sense not just my effort, but your spirit alive in me, shaping, refining, softening, and shining through. Lord, even now as I sit in the stillness of this new morning, I feel the echo of yesterday's moments settling into the edges of my soul. Some linger gently like soft reminders of joy, while others press harder, tugging with the weight of regret, of things said too quickly or feelings buried too long. But you, Father, do not treat me according to my failings. You meet me here again, with arms that do not recoil and eyes that never look away. You remind me that love is not given because I have earned it, but because you are love itself. I am learning, slowly, that growth is not always in the visible bloom, but often in the invisible rooting. There are days when I feel I have taken steps backward, days when old habits reappear like uninvited guests, and days when I wake unsure if I have made any progress at all. But you, God, are not tracking progress the way the world does. You see the movement of the heart, the small turning toward truth, the flicker of repentance, the willingness to try again. That is where you begin. Let me release the guilt that no longer serves growth. Let me stop carrying burdens that you have already invited me to lay down. When I cling to shame, I block the grace you freely offer. When I replay my wrongs instead of returning to you, I remain trapped in a cycle you long to break. Today, help me see what you see, not the failure, but the return, not the stumble, but the standing, not the sin, but the seeking heart. Let this become a holy place of turning, of beginning again without punishment, only restoration. Father, help me speak kindly to myself today. You do not speak in the voice of condemnation. So why do I let the voice live rent-free in my mind? Teach me to discern the sound of your spirit from the voice of shame. Your voice is never cruel. It convicts, yes, but always for healing. It may be firm, but it is never harsh. It may challenge, but it never wounds for the sake of wounding. It builds what it breaks and lifts what it reveals. You are not waiting for me to be perfect before I come close. You are not surprised by my struggles. You knew every step of my journey before I took the first one, and you still said, "Come." So I do. Not with polished words or impressive resolve, but with open hands and a trembling heart. I come because you are safe. You are steady. You are the same yesterday, today, and forever. I come because I have nowhere else that offers peace this deep and love this pure. Let this day be marked not by performance, but by presence. I do not want to spend my energy trying to prove my worth to others, or even to myself. I want to rest in what you have already spoken over me, that I am chosen, called, cherished, that I belong not because I do everything right, but because you call me yours. Let me live from that truth, not striving to reach it, but standing firm in it as my foundation. When guilt tries to creep back in, remind me that it is not a badge of faithfulness to wallow in what you have forgiven. True humility is not self-hate, it is self-awareness wrapped in grace. You do not need my self-punishment. What you desire is my surrender, my willingness to be shaped again and again by your mercy. That is where transformation lives, not in self-loathing, but in grace received with open hands. God, when I am tempted to hide pieces of myself from you, thinking them too messy or too broken, pull me gently into the light. Show me that healing begins in honesty. You are not afraid of my past. You are not offended by my weakness. You are already familiar with every corner of my being. And still, you choose to dwell within me. That is a mystery I cannot fully grasp, but it is one I want to trust with all I have. Even the regrets that feel like anchors, you are capable of turning them into stepping stones. You can redeem anything. What I thought disqualified me, you use as testimony. What I tried to bury, you raise in new life. You waste nothing, Lord, in your hands. Even the pain becomes part of the healing story. So today, I release. I let go of the silent accusations I have whispered against myself. I breathe out the fear that I will never change. I turn from the mirror of shame and look again into the face of mercy. And there, I find you not waiting with judgment, but welcoming me with tenderness. You are not keeping score. You are keeping me. Help me to be that same grace for others. Let my understanding of mercy not stop with me, but flow outward. Let me be quick to forgive, slow to assume, willing to release. When someone wrongs me, let me remember how often I have been wrong and how freely you forgave. When someone disappoints me, let me respond not with superiority, but with empathy. Let me be someone who sees not just the mistake, but the pain behind it. Teach me the difference between guilt that leads to repentance and shame that leads to despair. Let me sit with the first when I must, but always in your company. Let me reject the second, knowing it is never from you. Let the awareness of my flaws never drive me away from you, but deeper into your arms. Father, for those moments when I have let myself down or let others down, for the words I wish I could take back and the silences I should be filled, I bring them all here. I do not want to carry them anymore. I want to learn from them and then release them into your care. I want to stop picking at old wounds and start believing that healing is possible, not because I forget, but because I forgive. And if someone carries guilt because of me, someone I have hurt or disappointed, give me courage to make peace. Let humility guide my steps toward reconciliation. Let me be brave enough to say I was wrong. And if they are not ready to receive it, help me accept that too with compassion. Not bitterness. Lord, remind me that I am not the sum of my worst moments. I am not stuck in the story of my lowest chapters. You are writing something new. You are not done. You are never done. So let this be a turning point not marked by dramatic change, but by a simple, sacred decision to keep going, to keep trusting, to keep rising. You are the God who makes all things new, not just once, but over and over. Every morning is proof. Every sunrise is a reminder that darkness does not get the final word. And so, I choose to believe again. I choose to forgive myself again. I choose to receive your grace, not because I feel worthy, but because you are worthy to be trusted with my healing. Let that be enough for now. Let the letting go be my act of faith. Let the softening of my heart be my worship. Let the way I show up today gentler, freer, more open be my testimony. And if I forget, if the guilt returns like a shadow, lead me once again to the light. You never tire of repeating truth. You never get weary of welcoming me home. And that is the miracle I rest in now. Lord, as I move from the stillness of yesterday's release, I find myself standing on the edge of what I cannot see. There is something about the unknown that both stirs hope and ignites fear. It stretches my faith while pressing against my need for control. You know this part of me, the part that longs for assurance, the part that quietly asks for guarantees before taking a step. Yet you call me forward, not with all the answers, but with the promise that you will go with me. And somehow, that is enough. You never promised that the path would be laid out in full before me. You never said the terrain would always be smooth, but you did say, over and over, that you would be near, that you would be my guide, my strength, my peace. So today, I ask for courage, not the loud, fearless kind that the world celebrates, but the quiet kind that wakes up anyway, that chooses to try again, that says yes to the uncertain, because it trusts in the one who holds it all. Father, I confess how easily I shrink from the unfamiliar, how often I hesitate when I sense change approaching. There is a part of me that wants to stay in what I know, even if it no longer brings life. The routine feels safe, even when it no longer serves me. But you, God, are not content with me merely surviving. You invite me into growth, into movement, into transformation, and that always requires leaving something behind. Give me the bravery to let go of what is comfortable but stagnant. Let me not confuse safety with stagnation. Let me not choose predictability at the expense of purpose. Help me remember that every person who walked closely with you was once called into the unknown. Abraham, Moses, Mary, Peter, none of them had a map. They only had your voice. And still, they moved. I want to be like that, Lord. I want to be someone who moves not because I know where I am going, because I know who is leading. Let my courage come not from having it all figured out, but from trusting that you already do. Let me take the first step not because the future is clear, but because my faith is rooted in the one who sees the end from the beginning. Even when fear whispers the worst-case scenarios, even when doubts raise their voices, help me quiet the noise with the truth of your faithfulness. Remind me of all the times you carried me through what I once feared. Remind me of the ways you provided, the moments you showed up, the doors you opened that I never saw coming. Let my memory of your goodness be the anchor that steadies me as I step into what is next. God, help me trust not only in the destination, but in the process. So often I focus on the outcome, forgetting that you are working just as deeply in the journey itself. The waiting, the stretching, the questions, they all have value when they are surrendered to you. Let me not rush through what you are using to shape me. Let me not despise the detours or the delays. There is beauty in becoming, even when I can yet see the full picture. And when I feel alone in this journey, remind me that I am never truly walking by myself. You place people alongside me, sometimes for a moment, sometimes for a season, each one carrying something I need to learn, something that reflects you. Help me recognize the gift of those who walk with me. Help me open my heart to the community you have surrounded me with, even if it looks different than I expected. Lord, protect me from paralyzing fear. Let it not be the loudest voice in the room. Let it not dictate my choices. Let faith rise louder, not because I am strong, but because you are. Let your perfect love drive out the fear that seeks to control. Let me make room in my heart for trust, even when it feels risky, especially when it feels risky. When the unknown feels like a storm cloud hanging just ahead, remind me that you are already in it. You are not waiting for me on the other side. You are in the middle of it with me, steadying my steps, shielding my heart, whispering strength into my soul. I may not know what will happen next, but I know you, and that is the solid ground beneath my feet. Let this day be a declaration that I choose trust over fear, Let my thoughts be anchored in your promises. Let my heart lean into your whispers. Even when the world around me is shouting, when I am tempted to withdraw, help me engage. When I want to avoid, help me face. When I want to give up, help me remember why I began. Father, for every door I do not yet see, for every opportunity waiting just outside my line of sight, prepare me, ready my heart, steady my spirit, sharpen my vision. Let me not miss what you are doing, because I am clinging too tightly to what has been. Open my hands, unclench my grip. Teach me the sacred art of surrender, not as defeat, but as devotion. And if the next step you are calling me to is small and unseen, let me take it with the same reverence, as if it were grand. Let me not seek applause, only obedience. Let me find joy in knowing I followed, even when no one else noticed. Because you notice, you see every unseen act of courage, every hidden moment of faithfulness, and you smile over them like a father proud of his child. Help me embrace the mystery without demanding clarity. Help me find comfort not in answers, but in your nearness. There is something holy in walking blind when I know your hand is on my shoulder. There is something sacred in not knowing and still saying yes. That is the kind of faith I want, not flashy, but faithful. Not loud, but lasting. Lord, remind me that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward in spite of it. Let that kind of courage shape my words, my choices, my responses today. Let it rise up in quiet moments when I am tempted to turn back. Let it be the heartbeat of my life, steady, trusting, alive in you. This day, I choose to meet the unknown not with dread, but with wonder, not with trembling hands, but with open palms, not because I know what is coming, but because I know you are already there. Let the light of your presence be the lamp to my path. Let the warmth of your love be the fire that fuels my steps. Whatever today holds, I face it not alone. Whatever waits around the bend, I face it with you. And that makes all the difference. You are the God who leads into mystery with kindness, who transforms uncertainty into invitation, who turns fear into faith. That is the God I trust today, and that is the God I will follow wherever you call. Father, as I step deeper into this morning with you, I feel the weight of what I still carry, though I long to walk freely into the future you have prepared. I cannot deny the echoes of the past that sometimes bind my feet. Pain I thought I had buried still finds its way back to the surface. Memories that should have faded still whisper when I am quiet. And the ache of wounds left unresolved stirs even in the most sacred of moments. But I know you see it all not to shame me, but to heal me. You know what I carry, and you offer freedom in exchange for every chain. There are names, Lord, that bring up resistance in my soul. There are faces that I would rather forget. And yet, you gently press into those spaces, not to reopen old pain, but to restore what was broken. You are not asking me to pretend the hurt never happened. You are inviting me to release what no longer serves me, to stop clutching the shards of betrayal and instead open my hands to healing. Because holding on to bitterness does not protect me, it poisons me. It does not make me strong, it wears me down. You know this, and so you lead me toward forgiveness, not as a demand, but as a path to freedom. Lord, I confess how hard it is to forgive when the wound feels fresh or when justice still feels distant. I want to forgive, but sometimes I do not know how. I want to move on, but the past keeps pulling me back. In those moments, remind me that forgiveness is not a feeling, it is a decision. A daily, sometimes moment by moment, surrender of my right to hold on to resentment. A choice to trust you with the outcome. To let you be the one who rights the wrongs. Because you are the God of justice and mercy. You do not overlook pain. And you never ask me to minimize what happened. You simply invite me to lay it down, so it no longer controls my heart. There are parts of me, God, that still believe forgiveness means forgetting. That if I release someone from the debt they owe, I am erasing the hurt they caused. But you never confuse forgiveness with silence or passivity. You never ask me to make myself small for the sake of peace. True forgiveness is not weakness, it is sacred strength. It is the courageous act of trusting you more than I trust my own need for retribution. It is saying, I refuse to let what they did define me anymore. It is not letting the pain have the final word. Give me that kind of strength, Lord, the strength to forgive what was never apologized for. The strength to release what may never be made right. The strength to stop rehearsing the hurt and instead start reclaiming my heart. Help me take back the energy I have poured into bitterness and redirect it toward becoming whole again. I do not want my story to be shaped by the people who hurt me. I want it to be shaped by the God who heals me. And Father, when the one I need to forgive is myself, help me be just as generous. So often I extend grace to others, while quietly punishing my own heart. I replay my mistakes, rehearse my regrets, and wear guilt like a second skin. But you did not create me to live in shame. You came to set me free not just from sin, but from self-condemnation. Remind me that your mercy is new every morning, and that includes this one. Let me receive it fully, without trying to earn what you give freely. Let me believe that I am more than my worst moment, that you see the whole of me and still call me beloved. Help me speak to myself with the same kindness I would offer a friend. Help me stop measuring my worth by my scars. Let me be gentle with the parts of me still healing. Let me honor the process rather than rushing past it. Because you are not in a hurry with me. You walk patiently through my pain. Never rushing. Never shaming. You are the kind of father who stays through the darkest night, who waits for my heart to open, who never leaves me to face the healing alone. Lord, for every apology I never received, help me let go of the need to hear it. For every door that was slammed without closure, help me trust that you are still writing the story. For every person who wounded me without remorse, help me remember that their lack of repentance does not rob me of the power to forgive. I do not forgive because they deserve it. I forgive because you call me to live free. And freedom begins with letting go. If there are roots of bitterness still buried in my soul, expose them gently, not to shame me, but to deliver me. Pull them out with your mercy. Replace them with compassion, with peace, with a softness that only you can give. Let my heart become a garden where no weeds of resentment can survive. Let the soil of my soul be rich with grace, watered by truth, and warmed by your love. And when forgiveness feels impossible, when the pain feels too deep, remind me that I do not have to do it alone. I do not have to force it or fake it. I can bring my resistance to you, and you will meet me there. You never demand perfection, only honesty. And even when I say, I am not ready, you respond with patience. Even when I say, help me want to forgive, you come close. You never walk away from a heart that is trying. You stay. You wait. You work. God, I want to walk lighter. I want to love deeper. I want to be someone who is not hardened by hurt, but softened by healing. I want to be able to look back and see scars, not open wounds, to see lessons, not losses, to feel peace, not pain. I want to walk into the future without dragging the past behind me like a shadow. So help me release what needs to be released. Help me let go not just with my words, but with my whole being. And when I do, let me feel the shift. Let me sense the unburdening. Let the chains fall silently, one by one, as I choose freedom over fury, healing over hurt, grace over grief. Let this be the morning I turn the page, not forgetting, but forgiving, not denying the pain, but deciding that it will no longer hold the pen that writes my next chapter. Thank you, Father, for being the God who restores what was broken, who heals what was wounded, who redeems even the ugliest parts of my story. You waste nothing, not a single tear, not a single sigh. Everything I release into your hands becomes a seed for something new. So I surrender again my past, my pain, my pride, and I ask you to write something beautiful from it. Something holy. Something whole. Father, as I rise and continue forward from that place of letting go, I feel a new kind of space open inside me. The space where pain used to sit, where resentment once took root, now feels like fertile ground for something different. Something wiser. And in this gentle silence after the release, I realize how much I need your wisdom, more than anything else, to move forward in peace. I do not want to simply live, I want to live well. I want to make choices that are full of meaning, not just momentum. I want to be intentional, not impulsive. And for that, I need you to guide my every step. Lord, the world offers so many voices, some loud, some subtle, all pulling at my attention, urging me in different directions. It is so easy to become overwhelmed by the pressure, to choose quickly, to answer immediately, to have it all figured out. But your voice is never chaotic. You are not in the noise or the rush. You are in the quiet, in the still small whisper that calls me to pause before I proceed. Help me not to confuse motion with direction, not to mistake activity for purpose. Show me the way that is not just possible, but right, not just good, but best. In moments when I feel lost between two options, uncertain which path to take, remind me that I do not have to decide alone. You are not a distant God, watching me from afar as I guess my way through life. You are present, near, whispering wisdom into the spaces I silence for you. Let me hear you more clearly. Drown out the noise of my fear, my ambition, my doubt. Clear away the fog of comparison that clouds my judgment. Let me choose not based on what looks impressive or what others expect, but based on what you know is good for me. Even when I do not yet see the full picture, God, give me the kind of wisdom that is rooted in humility, not in pride or certainty, but in a posture of openness, a heart that says, "Teach me." Instead of pretending I already know, let me be a student of your way, not just a follower in name, but one who truly seeks to learn how to live by truth. Let wisdom guide my responses, not my reactions. Let it be the filter through which I see people, opportunities, and even my own desires. Let it become the compass that always leads me back to love, to honesty, to clarity, and to peace in the choices I make with my time today. Lord, help me choose what is life-giving. Remind me that not everything that demands my attention deserves it. Let me prioritize not what is urgent, but what is eternal. Let me spend my energy where it matters most, in kindness, in listening, in service, in growing. Teach me to say no with confidence and yes with conviction. Give me the courage to disappoint others when obedience to you requires it. Let me be more afraid of missing your will than of missing out on what the world promises. Father, when it comes to relationships, give me the wisdom to know who to trust, who to invest in, who to release. Let me see beyond appearances and into the truth of hearts. Help me recognize manipulation wrapped in charm, and authenticity that speaks softly but stands firm. Let me build connection where there is mutual respect, not just mutual convenience. And give me the grace to walk away from what drains me, no matter how familiar. Not every door is meant to be opened. Not every voice is meant to be followed. Let me follow only you when I face decisions that carry long-term consequences, choices about work, finances, health, family. Be the voice behind me saying, "This is the way, walk in it." Close the doors that would lead me astray, even if I do not understand why. Keep me from forcing what was never mine to begin with. Let the peace in my spirit be louder than the pressure from others. Teach me the difference between what feels good in the moment and what is good in the long run. Patience be my pace when haste wants to take over. God, in the moments when I regret past decisions, help me remember that nothing is wasted in your hands. Even my detours have purpose. Even the times I did not listen, you still stayed. You never abandoned me to my own confusion. You turned my wrong turns into wisdom. You used even the consequences to shape my character. Remind me that wisdom is not perfection, it is willingness to learn. And as I learn, I grow. And as I grow, I come closer to who you made me to be. When my heart grows anxious at the weight of a decision, remind me that you are bigger than any outcome, that your presence is more important than my performance, that the right decision is not always the easiest, but it will always align with your truth. Help me not to seek what is comfortable, but what is true. Let integrity be my instinct, even when no one else sees. Let faithfulness be my measure, not success in the eyes of others. Let me stand at every crossroad with a quiet confidence, knowing you go before me. Teach me to check my motives. Lord, let me not be swayed by pride, by fear, or by the need to please. Strip away the layers of self-preservation that make it hard to discern what is really right. Let me ask myself hard questions and wait patiently for your answers. Not every open door is a divine opportunity. Not every yes is blessed. Let me not be moved by convenience, but by calling, by conviction, by your whisper. Father, let your word be my source of wisdom, not a distant book, but a living voice. Let it speak louder than trends, than opinions, than feelings. Let it cut through the confusion with clarity and calm. Bring to mind the truths I need in the moments I need them. Let Scripture not be something I simply know, but something I live. Let it shape how I speak, how I decide, how I love, and how I wait. And when I make the wrong choice, when I take the wrong turn, remind me that wisdom grows even in my missteps, that you are not disappointed by my need for guidance, that you are honored when I ask. So I come to you again and again, not because I am weak, but because I am wise enough to know I need you. My desire is not to impress you with my independence, but to depend on you with sincerity, because in you I find what I cannot find anywhere else. True direction, unwavering light, and the peace of knowing I am led by love. In this morning stillness, help me to pause before I move, to reflect before I speak, to listen before I act. Let the clarity of your spirit settle into my bones, so that when I step forward, I do so with a steady soul, not rushed, not unsure, but grounded in something eternal. Let today be filled not with perfect decisions, but with wise ones, ones made in surrender, not fear, in trust, not control, in humility, not pride. And if at any point today I forget this posture, draw me back gently. Interrupt my hurry with holy stillness. Remind me that you are always available to lead, that I never need to choose alone, that you are not only the destination, but the way. And every step I take with you is a step in the right direction. Lord, in this quiet space where I continue to seek your presence, I realize how much I depend on you, not just for wisdom in decisions, but for strength in the struggles that come with each passing hour. Temptation often arrives quietly, wrapped in small choices, dressed in everyday disguises. It does not always shout, but it always seeks to pull me away from the path you have laid before me. That is why I come to you now, not in panic, but in preparation. I know this day will come with challenges, and I do not want to face them alone. Father, you know the subtle ways the enemy tries to weaken my spirit. You know how quickly irritation can rise when I feel unheard, how easy it is to speak words I can take back when I am tired or pressed. You know how pride can dress itself as confidence, how fear can wear the mask of caution, how jealousy can feel like motivation. These things creep in slowly, but their effect on my heart is heavy. I need your help to see them for what they are before they take root. I need the discernment to notice when I am drifting, even just a little. God, give me strength in my thoughts when negative patterns try to resurface, when old lies try to echo louder than your truth. Help me take every thought captive. Remind me that not everything I think is true, and not every feeling needs to be followed. Let me choose truth over emotion, clarity over confusion. When comparison knocks at my mind, trying to convince me that I am not enough, let me answer with the confidence that I am yours, and that is more than enough. Let your voice be louder than every whisper of inadequacy or shame. In the moments when I feel tempted to hide my weaknesses or pretend I have it all together, remind me that honesty is stronger than performance. I do not have to impress you. You are not looking for perfection. You are looking for surrender. Help me to be honest with myself and with you. If I am weary, let me say so. If I am frustrated, let me bring it to you instead of letting it fester. You are not afraid of my struggles. You meet me right in the middle of them with compassion and clarity. Lord, protect me from the temptation of selfishness. It is easy to focus only on what I want, what I need, what I feel I deserve. But today, help me to notice others. Help me to serve even when it is inconvenient, to listen even when I am busy, to give even when I do not feel like I have much. Let me live generously, not just with money, but with my time, my words, my attention, and my presence. Help me remember that true joy does not come from getting more, but from giving well. Father, strengthen me against the temptation to speak carelessly. Words are powerful, and once spoken, they cannot be undone. Let me speak only what is helpful, what is healing, what builds up. Let me not give in to sarcasm when I am angry, or gossip when I am hurt. Let me choose silence when I do not know what to say, and truth when it is hard to say it. Let my words be a reflection of your grace, not just my emotions. When I am tempted to quit something good because it feels hard or slow, give me endurance. Let me not confuse difficulty with defeat. Let me trust that the hard path often leads to the most beautiful destinations. Remind me that you are with me not just when I succeed, but when I struggle. That staying faithful in the little things matters, just as much as the big wins. Help me stay committed to the things you have called me to, even when I do not see results right away. God, I need strength in my relationships too, when offense tries to sneak in. When I feel slighted or misunderstood, help me pause. Let me not act out of hurt, but out of grace. Remind me that everyone I meet today is carrying something unseen. Let me choose kindness when I want to criticize. Let me choose peace when I want to prove a point. Let me choose forgiveness when I feel wronged. These choices are not always easy, but they are holy. They are the ones that reflect your heart in me. Lord, protect my heart from the temptation of distraction. This world is full of noise, and so often I trade stillness for scrolling, presence for productivity. Teach me to be present where I am. Let me not run from my thoughts by filling every empty space with noise. Help me reclaim the sacredness of slow moments, of quiet places where I can hear you again. Let me not reach for a screen when what I truly need is your spirit. Let today not be filled with just tasks, but with moments of meaning. Father, I know there will be moments when I feel overwhelmed, when the temptation to give up, to retreat, or to numb myself will feel real. In those moments, let me remember your strength is made perfect in my weakness. That I do not have to be strong enough on my own. That I can call out to you in the very middle of temptation, and you will meet me there with help, with hope, with healing. Let that truth be a lifeline when I feel like I am sinking. Remind me that each temptation is not a trap, but an opportunity to choose differently, to grow deeper, to rely more on you. Let me not beat myself up for being tempted, but let me be wise enough to recognize it and brave enough to turn away. Even when the old ways feel familiar, even when the new way feels lonely, you are worth the harder choice. You are worth the road that requires more trust. Help me create boundaries that protect my peace. Let me recognize situations, people, or habits that make it easier to fall into the same traps. And give me the courage to change course, to say no, to walk away when necessary. Let my desire for you be greater than my desire for comfort. Let my commitment to growth be stronger than my fear of change. I want to live awake, aware, and aligned with your spirit, God. Help me build a life that resists temptation, not just in the moment, but in the patterns I create daily. Let me be intentional with my routines, my choices, my priorities. Let me spend time with you not just when I need rescue, but as a rhythm of relationship. Let prayer be my reflex, not my last resort. Let scripture be my anchor, not my decoration. Let worship be my default, not just a Sunday habit. And when I fall short, when I mess up, when I choose poorly, remind me of your mercy. That your grace is not just for the beginning of my journey, but for every step. That you do not hold my failures over my head, but use them to lift me up into something stronger. Let me get back up with humility, with hope, with a heart that wants more of you, because I do. I want more of you than anything this world offers. So today, in every temptation I face, whether it is obvious or subtle, loud or quiet, remind me of who I am in you. Let my identity shape my response. Let your truth be my armor. Let your love be my motivation. Let your spirit be my strength. And let every victory over temptation draw me deeper into the kind of life that truly reflects your goodness. Father, as I continue this journey of drawing closer to you each morning, my heart leans into the quiet realization that gratitude changes everything. Not just as a fleeting feeling when life is pleasant, but as a way of living, a posture of the soul that finds beauty even in broken places and praises you even in uncertainty. As I reflect on your steady grace and the strength you provide in my battles with temptation, I feel a deeper call within me to live thankfully, to see each breath not as a guarantee, but as a gift. God, help me cultivate a heart that gives thanks in all things, not just the easy ones. Teach me that gratitude does not ignore pain. It redeems perspective. It does not erase sorrow. It simply reminds me that sorrow is not the whole story. Let me see you in the ordinary, a warm cup of tea, the sound of birds at dawn, the laughter of someone I love. Let me recognize the sacredness in small moments, the kind that pass by unnoticed when I am rushing or distracted. Help me slow down long enough to cherish them. Lord, remind me today that gratitude is not reserved for when my prayers are answered the way I hoped. True thankfulness is not rooted in the outcome, but in the unchanging truth that you are with me, for me, and in me, regardless of what happens, even when doors close, even when people walk away, even when the unexpected turns my plans upside down, you remain. You are my constant, my hiding place, my foundation, and for that, I am grateful beyond words. Father, let my gratitude overflow into how I treat others. Let it make me kinder, not just to those who are easy to love, but to those who test my patience. Let it make me gentler with myself, forgiving of my own stumbles, knowing you do not measure me by my mistakes, but by your mercy. Let it soften my responses, season my speech, and guide my steps. A thankful heart does not have room for bitterness or jealousy. Let mine be too full of you to make space for anything less than grace. Teach me to be grateful even when life feels mundane. Not every day brings miracles or milestones, but each one brings breath, and breath is enough to praise you. Let me not chase excitement while missing the quiet blessings you place in my path. Let me find joy in doing the dishes, in folding laundry, in walking familiar roads. These are the moments where faith becomes real, where worship becomes woven into the rhythm of ordinary life. God, help me choose gratitude when my body feels weak, when pain lingers longer than I want, when healing takes time. Help me remember that this body, even when tired or broken, is a vessel that still carries your spirit. Let me thank you for what it can do instead of resenting what it cannot. Let me praise you for the miracle of movement, of heartbeat, of breath, and when I feel weary, let gratitude lift my eyes from what is lacking to what still remains. Let me be thankful in my work, whether it is seen by many or unnoticed by most, whether I am leading or serving, creating or maintaining. Let me do it as an offering to you. Let me not grow bitter when it feels repetitive or unseen. You see it all. You bless the faithful hands, the willing heart, the humble spirit. Teach me to work not for applause, but from a place of reverence. Let my gratitude shape the way I show up, not out of duty, but devotion. Lord, in seasons of abundance, keep me humble and aware that every good thing comes from you. Let me not cling to blessings as if they are owed, but hold them with open hands, ready to share, ready to release if you ask. Let me never mistake your gifts for the source itself. You are the giver, and you are enough, even if all else fades. Let gratitude protect my heart from entitlement, and let it anchor me in contentment, even as I dream for more. And in seasons of loss, when the H is fresh and answers are few, remind me that gratitude does not have to make sense to be real. I can thank you even with tears in my eyes. I can whisper praise even through the pain, because even in grief, you are near. Even in questions, you are good. Let me not wait for healing to begin my thanksgiving. Let it rise from the ashes, raw and real and powerful in its surrender. Father, let me model gratitude for those around me. Let my children, my friends, my coworkers. See in me a joy that does not depend on circumstances. Let them see someone who notices beauty, who gives thanks freely, who finds God in the details. Let me encourage others by living a life of appreciation, not just in what I say, but in how I live. A grateful life is contagious. Let mine be a spark that ignites joy in those who are watching silently from the sidelines. God, when anxiety creeps in and tries to cloud my vision, let gratitude be my weapon when fear whispers worst-case scenarios. Let thanksgiving speak louder with evidence of your past faithfulness. When worry rushes ahead into tomorrow, let gratitude ground me in the now. Gratitude and fear cannot grow in the same soil. Help me tend to the right seeds. Let me water what gives life and uproot what steals peace. Let me wake up each day with thankfulness before anything else, before emails, before headlines, before to-do lists. Let my first thoughts be of you and the gift of another chance. Let end each day counting blessings, not burdens. And if I forget, if I get swept up in frustration or fatigue, gently nudge me back. Your kindness is what brings me back, not guilt, not shame, but grace. You lead with love, and I want to follow with thanks. Lord, thank you for the people in my life who remind me what love looks like. For those who show up, speak life, and make space for my growth. Thank you for the mentors who speak truth, the friends who offer laughter, the strangers who reflect your goodness in small acts of kindness. Let me never take them for granted. Let me see your fingerprints in the people you send to walk beside me. Thank you also for the quiet moments we share when no one else is watching, when no one else understands. Thank you for the comfort of your presence, the stillness of your peace, the assurance of your promises. These are treasures the world cannot steal. These are riches I want more than anything else. Keep me anchored in these truths, no matter what noise surrounds me. God, let my gratitude not be situational, but foundational. Not something I reach for occasionally, but something I carry constantly. Let it be the rhythm of my life, the undercurrent of my thoughts, the language of my prayers. Let it fill the empty places, light up the dark ones, and soften the hard ones. Let gratitude shape who I am becoming, someone who notices, someone who honors, someone who blesses, someone who reflects you in every word and action. Even now, as I breathe deeply and look forward to the rest of this day, I pause to give thanks again, not just for what has been or what is, but for who you are. You are my reason. You are my joy. You are my anchor. And even if the road ahead holds both sun and shadow, I will walk it with a grateful heart, because you walk it with me. Father, as I carry forward the spirit of gratitude from my waking hours, my heart turns naturally toward the longing for clarity and strength to live this day not merely by routine, but with intention and purpose. The gentle awareness that you are walking with me, shaping my thoughts, guiding my choices, and lighting my steps brings comfort deeper than words can hold. I do not want to move through this day aimlessly. Father, I want to move meaningfully. I want to walk with focus, with dignity, and with direction that honors you. Lord, Help me to understand that purpose is not always wrapped in grand gestures or dramatic changes. More often, it hides within the moments I might overlook a kind response when I feel annoyed, a patient silence when I want to speak sharply, a small act of courage when I feel overwhelmed. These, too, are holy. These, too, reflect the life you call me to live. Give me eyes to see where my presence is needed, where my words carry weight, and where my choices can bless instead of burden. God, when the noise of the world presses against my mind and the distractions pull at my heart, give me strength to return to center. Remind me that you are not found in chaos, but in stillness. Remind me that clarity does not come from endless striving, but from quieting my soul before you. Help me tune out the voices that push me to compare, to compete, to doubt myself, and instead let me hear the whisper of your spirit reminding me that I am called, equipped, and held in your hands. Let my heart be firm even when my path feels uncertain. Let me not depend on having every step figured out before I move. Give me the boldness to take the next right step in faith, even if the rest remains unseen, because walking with you means I am never truly lost. Even when I do not have all the answers, I have you and you are enough. You are the light that goes before me and the strength that stands behind me. And that is more than enough to begin the day. Father, I surrender my plans to you, not out of fear, but out of trust. You know what I cannot see. You understand what I have yet to discover. You see the intersection of my story with others in ways I never could. So help me hold my goals loosely and my faith tightly. Help me work diligently, but not obsessively. Let my to-do lists be filled with purpose, not pressure. Let me place everything in your hands and walk forward in peace, not panic. Let me lead with kindness and live with integrity. Let my character speak louder than my words, and my actions echo the values you planted in me. Let me be someone others can trust, not because I am perfect, but because I live with consistency, humility, and a heart tuned to you. When I am tempted to take shortcuts or compromise, remind me that honor always has a cost, but it also holds eternal value. Let me choose what is right, even when it is harder. Lord, there are days when the weight I carry feels invisible to others, but heavy to me. On those days, strengthen me quietly. Fill the hollow places with your presence. Give me courage to keep showing up, even when I feel unseen. Let me remember that you notice what others miss, that every silent effort, every hidden sacrifice, every private prayer matters in your eyes. Let me serve faithfully, even if no one applauds. Let me love deeply, even when it is not returned. Grant me clarity not only about what I am meant to do, but who I am meant to become. I do not want to simply perform tasks or chase achievements. I want to become someone who reflects you, more patient, more generous, more faithful, more anchored in truth. Shape my inner life, even as I attend to outer responsibilities. Let every interaction, every decision, every moment become an opportunity for transformation. Give me the strength to forgive those who have wounded me, not because they deserve it, but because I do not want to carry the weight of bitterness. Let me move through life light, unburdened by anger, released from resentment. Help me let go, not because the pain was small, but because your grace is greater. Let forgiveness become the doorway to freedom and peace. Even if healing takes time, God, when I feel unsure of my worth, remind me that my value is not measured by my productivity, appearance, or the approval of others. I am yours. That alone defines my identity. Let me live rooted in that truth. Let me walk confidently, knowing I am not trying to earn love, but already wrapped in it. Let that assurance shape how I speak, how I give, how I dream. Let it remind me that no moment is wasted when it is lived with you. Help me discern which voices to listen to and which to silence. Not every opinion needs a response. Not every invitation requires my yes. Let me choose wisely how I spend my energy. Let me protect my peace. Let me make room for joy and creativity, for rest and wonder. Let my calendar reflect my convictions, not just my commitments. Let me not confuse business with significance. Sometimes the most important thing I can do is pause and simply be with you. Father, infuse my day with divine perspective. Let me see people not as interruptions, but as opportunities. Let me offer empathy, not judgment. Let me be the reason someone feels heard, encouraged, or uplifted. Let me be a reminder of goodness in a world that often feels harsh. Let my presence be a safe space, my words a healing balm, my life a quiet testimony of grace at work. As I go about the rhythms of this day, whether at work or home, in quiet or chaos, let me carry a sense of sacredness. Let me remember that no space is too ordinary to be holy when you are there. Whether I am preparing a meal, replying to emails, folding laundry, or sitting in silence, let me offer it all as worship. Let my life be an altar, and my actions a continual prayer. God, give me courage to confront what needs healing in me. If there are patterns I have avoided, emotions I have buried, or lies I have believed, bring them to light, not to shame me, but to set me free. I do not want to carry anything that keeps me from walking fully in purpose. You are not afraid of my mess. You meet me in it and lead me out. Let today be a step toward wholeness, however small. Father, bless the work of my hands. Let it be fruitful. Let it be meaningful. Let it be a reflection of your creativity and excellence. Whether I am building something, solving problems, caring for others, or simply staying faithful in the unseen, let my work carry your signature. Let me not work to impress, but to impact. Let me remember that I labor not for applause, but for legacy, something that lasts beyond today. And when the day draws to a close, let me look back not with regret, but with gentle honesty. Let me reflect on where I lived with intention and where I need more grace. Let me not be defeated by what I did not do, but inspired by what is still possible. Tomorrow is a new canvas. Let today be enough. And let me rest knowing that you were in it all. You, Lord, are my strength and my reason. Without you, I drift, but with you, I walk steady even when I am uncertain, even when it is hard. even when the road seems long. I trust you to take every step with me, to whisper truth when I forget, and to catch me when I fall. Let that be the rhythm of my soul as I step into the unknown with courage, clarity, and quiet resolve. Lord, as the final threads of this prayer draw together, my spirit remains wide open to you. Every word, every breath spoken has been my offering, not just for today, but for the rhythm of every day that will follow. And now, standing quietly at the threshold between this sacred moment of stillness and the world that awaits, I do not feel an ending, but rather a beginning that continues without fanfare, gently rooted in your presence. You are the steady pulse beneath all that moves. You are the quiet foundation when everything else feels fragile. Father, thank you for the nearness I have felt through these words, for the gentle recentering of my heart that came not from striving, but from surrender. I came each time not to impress you, but to be changed by you, and I feel it deep beneath the surface, where my fears used to echo louder than my faith. I feel something new rising. Not noise, not perfection, not applause, but peace. A peace not made of answers, but of alignment, not made of outcomes, but of awareness that I do not walk alone. God, I know there will be days when I forget the quiet truths whispered here. Days when I move too fast, speak too harshly, or feel too tired to remember what matters. And still, you will be there. That is the hope I carry. Not that I will always be faithful, but that you always will. That even when I fall short, you are never far. That I can return again and again to this space, this sacred posture, this trust that does not depend on circumstances or mood. Let everything I have spoken in these prayers become not just sentiment, but substance. Let it show in how I treat the ones who are hard to love. Let it be reflected in how I show up when no one is watching. Let it be lived in the way I speak to strangers, in how I hold space for silence, in how I make decisions not from fear but from freedom. Let what I believe shape how I live. Let my faith not just be a quiet place I visit, but the firm ground beneath every step. I release the need to do this life perfectly. I release the weight of needing to prove anything to anyone. I release the fear that I am too much or not enough. And in that release, I find freedom, the kind that does not rush or compare or pretend. The kind that simply wakes up each day and says, "Here I am, Lord. Let me walk with you again." That is all I ask. To walk with you. To let my life be a slow unfolding of that daily yes. There are moments, Lord, when the world feels too loud and I feel too small. But even then, you speak in the quiet. You meet me in the stillness. You remind me that being small is not the same as being powerless. That presence is power. That love, even when whispered, is never wasted. That light does not need to be blinding to be real. It just needs to be steady. Let my light be steady, Lord. Not dramatic, just steady. Teach me to hold wonder again, not just in the extraordinary, but in the ordinary, the steam rising from my coffee, the laugh of a child, the quiet curve of a leaf in the wind. Let me not overlook what you place in front of me, because I am chasing something shinier. Let me find beauty not in things, but in moments. Let me hold each breath as sacred. Let me remember that every morning is a miracle dressed in soft colors and simple beginnings. And even now, I carry forward all that has been prayed not as a checklist to complete, but as a melody to return to. These words are not my achievement. They are my echo. They are the reflection of a soul longing to live with integrity, tenderness, and courage. They are the confession of someone who needs grace every day and who has found it again and again in you. If there is anything left to say, Lord, is thank you. Thank you for the unseen ways you have moved, for the quiet convictions that have settled in, for the tears that softened what had grown hard, for the laughter that reminded me I am still alive and still becoming. Thank you for the silent victories no one will ever applaud, and for the gentle invitations you keep extending, even when I hesitate to accept. Thank you for those who have walked this journey of prayer alongside me, whether in solitude or in a community of faith. There is a comfort in knowing that somewhere, someone else is reaching out to you too. That in the quiet corners of this world, hearts are being softened, healed, and renewed not by noise, but by connection, not by control, but by communion. And so I end, not with finality, but with a pause, a breath, a turning of the face toward the light. I leave this space not to forget it, but to carry it with me into the next conversation, the next decision, the next storm, the next sunrise. If these words have held any weight, any truth, any flicker of divine comfort, I thank you from the depths of my soul for staying through every chapter. Your presence here has not gone unnoticed. Your listening spirit, your open heart, your willingness to sit in this sacred space means more than you know. Please feel free to share your thoughts, your own quiet prayers, or what stirred in you along the way. Your voice matters. Your journey matters. And if this series has been a companion to your mornings, I invite you to stay connected. Subscribe to this channel to continue receiving encouragement rooted in faith. Share this video with someone who may need these words today. And most importantly, never stop choosing to begin again each morning with hope, with purpose, and with a heart open to the divine. Let your day unfold like the slow rise of the sun, soft and certain. Let your heart be like a breeze across still waters, gentle, honest, alive. Let your soul breathe deeply in the calm, knowing that light always finds its way through.